It's time for the KO Show. That's right, folks. We're here at the National Havoc Robot Leagues for our 4th qualifying round of the year for NHRL's Pro Tour. I'm Evil Henchman Sam Hansen, and I have had a blast today. We've had some amazing matches in these prelims, and I can't wait for the matches we've got coming up. And joining me today, my good friend Adam Wrigley. Adam, how's today been for you?
It's been amazing, Sam. The fights have been strong, and we've had a lot of fire in the cage, sometimes on purpose, sometimes not. It's been a lot of fun to see, and I can't wait for more.
Well, we are just 2 weeks away from NHRL's very first Pro Tour event right here in the House of Havoc. And quite frankly, folks, I'm excited because we've got the groups posted.
Yeah, so we are doing a group stage in Pro Tour. This is going to be a round-robin group, so you've got to win your fights to get into the tournament. This is the first 4 we've got in the 3-pound group. This is a strong field, Sam. Who are you getting here?
Oh, I like dumpster winner, the wall part 2. Anubis, their teammate, I believe. Turbo Fiend, another Panda bot on there. And at the bottom, it's just the best melty brain in the sport.
Let's take a look at Group B. We've got Sting Operation, Berserker, Pipeline Punch, and Eruption in this group.
And here is some of the matches that you're going to see.
Yeah, so for the first 2 groups here, again, this is going to be a round-robin tournament. They're all going to be fighting each other in these groups, but here's some of the matchups we're going to see. Group A starting off the wall part 2 versus Anubis. How are you gonna do that fight? I mean, that's going to be insane.
I would imagine someone's bouncing off the ceiling in that match. The wall is also going to take on Project Liftoff, Turbo Fiend. Everyone in that group is fighting each other. And you know what? Adam, joining us today for the first time ever, right next to the cage, we've got Carly. Carly, how you doing?
Thank you, Sam. Hey, I'm Carly, and I'm here cage side at NHRL's KO Show. Right now, we've got some 3-pound bots going to be loading into our cages, and that means we're going to go back-to-back with battles to make sure we know who's in tonight's ultimate primetime finals. And I'm going to be doing cage side interviews for you so you can get all behind the scenes with your favorite builders. But before we start, let's go to our experts, Dima and Ricky, in the play-by-play booth.
Thanks so much, Carly. I'm Ricky Willems.
I'm Dima Papazian.
And as Carly mentioned, we are in the play-by-play booth. We're going to be taking you through all of the action here, all through the KO show. We have a ton of great fights lined up for you.
The prelims, we're just getting started. We're in the second third of today's May Open, and we're getting ready for Pro League in just 2 weeks away. But we have so much action ready to still go for these next few hours, so stay tuned, folks.
Yeah, all these robots fighting their way into the next Pro League opportunity. And we're going to go jump into Cage 2 right now, see one of those Pro League qualified robots in the form of Project Liftoff, ready to go into its first fight
5,
against Saccharine.
4, 3, 2, 1.
Fight. Robots.
Saccharine off to an incredibly quick start, immediately throwing Project Liftoff into the air. Saccharine so fast, this robot, but now it's sitting dead in the water.
Oh, that looked like a little Gremlins issue.
You see that when electronics go down, your robot can stop just cold for a moment before it recovers. Ooh. Project Liftoff taking full advantage of that. And look, it happened again, Dima, a second time. That is bad news. You need to be able to shrug off hits like that and chain them together to win a fight like this, especially against a veteran like Project Liftoff.
Saccharine is absolutely capable of doing that from the first 30 seconds we've seen, but I think these are just receiver issues preventing it from driving to its full capacity.
Yeah, there it happened again immediately. Just a glancing hit from Project Liftoff, and it stops. Project Liftoff having none of those issues. It is spinning up time after time, throwing Saccharine into the walls.
This robot being driven by Claire from WPI, and they're trying to show that they are still the quintessential college team at NHRL, not Cornell. Nice little crab walking being done to stay square with Project Liftoff.
Sometimes that's all you can do.
All right, we're right side up. Project Liftoff not really getting any attacks until here we go. Saccharine doing a very good job even with its intermittent receiver function problems, not taking much damage.
Well, it does seem it's got major left-hand drive issues.
Yeah, but Project Liftoff hasn't gotten any hits on it in the past 45 seconds or so.
No, that is... Wow,
Nice.
look at that! Incredible hits, and Project Liftoff slowing down now, at least for a moment.
But here's the thing, Project Liftoff has, even in times where it's lost, it's felt unkillable.
It is so important to recognize Project Liftoff has exactly 2 moving parts. Its wheels. The rest of the robot is weapon. And boy, does it have those 2 moving parts dialed in, which gives it extreme reliability.
I wonder what weapon configuration it's running, because typically it leaves these sort of circular aftershock marks in the arena, and it's not doing that right now. Glancing off of Saccarine's wedge, that wedge is very teched to be able to take hits from Project Liftoff and send it away. But in the last 12 seconds of this fight, let's see if either of them can get an attack on the opponent.
Yeah, right now, Saccarine's kind of rolling over like an affectionate dog. Not the greatest attack strategy. That is your match. This will be going to the judges, but Dima, there isn't an ounce of doubt in my mind. Project Liftoff will be taking this victory.
The Casmer Classic.
Now we're in the prove it period. At the end of each fight, the robots have a chance to show off their functionality.
That locked up drive side is what hurts them the most, I think.
Yep, that is a major issue with their condition. As a reminder to spectators who are maybe new or have not been here in a season or two, the scoring this year is based on 2 categories, attack and condition. Condition is basically what's working on your robot and what isn't. And attack is how hard and how effectively and how obviously did you bring the pain to your opponent over the course of the match. The judges are going to be looking at here in a minute. Obviously, Project Liftoff was moving great at the end of that match, so they're going to score very well in condition. Both robots did try to attack each other, so they're certainly going to get some attacks, but to me, that felt very obvious that Project Liftoff was able to keep it up better for the duration of the match.
Yeah, I agree.
I got to say, I love the color coding, the kind of theme branding that Saccharine is bringing to the table. It's kind of candy striped themed. It's just a lot of fun for a robot whose name means sweetness. And you know, who knows, with a little more time, it could be NHRL's new sweetheart.
And she's competing with her girlfriend in tow, and we love to see partner teams here, folks.
Yeah, it is very cute, and I think it brings a certainly it makes the wins feel more winning and the losses feel more biting, but having someone in the pits with you just to go through, this is a stressful, it's exciting and it's fun, but it's a stressful experience.
They're both competing today, but they're shouldering each other's stresses, so to speak, and we see the same thing when Chainsaw Kitty and Usalgi fight together. Trying to think of any off the top of my head. There's not that many, but the couples that we have at NHRL are iconic in this commentator's opinion. But we're getting ready to load another bot into the small cage, it looks like.
Yep, we've got another 3-pound fight for you in just a moment.
I got a sticker of one of these robots on my water bottle that I get asked about all the time at work, because they say, "Who's Mrs. Buff? Are you Mrs. Buff?" I say, "No. Just a robot that I really like."
Dima, you have a lot of things going for you. I don't know that I would call you Mrs. Buff. Plus, you're not married.
That's really true.
So, you know, you've got maybe two different things to aspire to in that name. Let's go to Adam. I think he's got some commentating a little closer to the cage for this one.
Oh. Hey. Welcome to NHRL. If you're new here, I think we're going to dive into Havoc 101. tell you a little bit about what we do. So you just saw a fight, and like a lot of fights, we have weight classes here at NHRL. That was a 3-pound weight class fight. We also have 12 pounds and 30 pounds. You're only going to fight within your weight class, so the fights are fair. Each match lasts for 3 minutes, and the goal is pretty simple: destroy your opponent's bot before they destroy yours. The fight will either end in a knockout if one of you is successful, or a tap out if you say you don't want any more. And if neither of you can successfully destroy each other, we're going to go to a judge's decision. Each robot also gets the ability to request an unstick once per fight. That's when our helpful house robots will come out. They'll be your teammate for about 20 seconds, try and knock you off the wall. And if they do, then you can keep fighting, and if not, you'll get knocked out. You get 1 per fight, you can't use it again. And then only the top 8 robots are going to qualify for prime time. We're starting out with a huge field, and we're whittling down throughout the KO show to the top 8, who will be fighting in a single elimination tournament tonight at 7 p.m. Eastern. But let's throw it over to Cage 2 for another 3-pound fight. Ricky, Dima, take it away.
Thanks so much for that, Adam. I love the rundown, and I love these 2 robots we're going to see. As we introduce, Mrs. Buff
5,
is going to be going up
4,
against Recreation.
3, 2, 1.
Fight. Robots fight.
Go. A gentle start from Mrs. Buff, but wow, what a stable robot as it approached an opponent. Recreation up against a wall, and Mrs. Buff taking pieces from the hindquarters. This is not the kind of control that Recreation needs if they want to win this fight.
We got some grinding on this bottom plate here.
Look at the holes in the carbon fiber armor on the back of Recreation.
Mrs. Buff is certainly trying to target some internals here, trying to get something that really hurts, like a wire or an ESC.
Something has gone terribly wrong with the functionality of Recreation. They're struggling to move. They're running themselves into arena walls. They're not able to self-right. What's going on, Dima? Oh, and there's a push. A pin, Mrs. Buff up against the wall.
Recreation, I think, is going to try to shake off that first minute as best they can and try to regain the dominant position here. Looks like they're doing a good job.
Some robots really have a hard time getting back in the game from an inverted position, and that might just be Recreation in this case. But Mrs. Buff is being able to flip Recreation end over end multiple times. If they can keep that up, Recreation isn't going to have a chance. Plus, these hits are adding up. You can see pieces of plastic starting to litter the arena as Mrs. Buff attacks the sides and now the front corners of Recreation.
Here we go. Getting an oblique hit on those little forks can pop them up. I hope that's something that they keep in mind.
8 in rows of Mrs. Buff trying to get the hit he needs.
Locking horns, both of them trying to get the better of these one-on-one engages.
You can see that yellow armor on the front of Mrs. Buff is protecting a weapon belt, but it's also, ooh, that was a good hit. It's preventing engagement, so the hits either hit really well or not at all.
Interesting.
Look at the bottom of Recreation. You can see the carbon fibers starting to split and tear. A couple more hits like that, and Mrs. Buff is going to be deep into the batteries.
Oh, but giving up their back in this last 30 seconds, got to be careful something critical doesn't happen.
This is looking likely to head to the judges unless something big happens in the next 10 seconds.
Both of these weapons have low reach. I don't think they're able to get like really big impacts and roof shots. They're more looking for like these grinding, cutting type impacts.
Well, those grinding, cutting impacts have taken a beating on Recreation. Oh, this is a big hit. What an amazing place to end a fight. Look at the carbon fiber pieces sitting on the edge of the pink corner. That was a lot of material removed from Recreation. You can see now the prove it period, both robots trying to demonstrate their functionality. It does appear they are both fully functional.
Yeah.
Certainly they took damage, they degraded, but everything seems to work.
All the condition score that they'd be losing is on their forks, their armor, those small chunks of plastic that we saw ripped out, but nothing for driver weapon. Those look fully functional.
Right, and when you have those sort of differences in cosmetic condition and sort of maybe a little more than cosmetic, but not fully functional, it's weighted less heavily than it is if, say, you have missing wheels or a weapon that no longer worked. So it's probably going to be relatively close in terms of condition, and what the judges are going to want out of this fight is who took it to their opponent better over the course of the fight. And that seemed relatively clear to me, Dima. I felt there was certainly give and take, but it did feel like Mrs. Buff had a hearty amount of dominance in that fight.
That first minute was a long first minute and squarely in their favor. And there were some segments in the last half of the fight where they were still able to sort of push Recreation around. But a great showing by both teams, great driving on behalf of both of these four-wheel drive vert drivers. Especially because Recreation, it feels like it had a little more power in their weapon than Mrs. Buff did. So they were driving against their own gyro and doing a great job of it, especially in those pushing matches. It's very easy to like accidentally back up or, you know, take a wrong corner and you're going a slightly not in a straight line and then you take a bad shot, but that isn't what happened.
Well, that is not. Let's go to Carly now and hear what's going on in other parts of the building.
Hey guys, I'm here with Ben and Aiden with Mrs. Buff, and we got a question for you. This is a hybrid autonomous driving robot, so could you tell us how much of this fight was hybrid and how much was manually driven?
Yeah, Aiden can speak to how much he had the switch on, but it's roughly 80% of the match were autonomous. You can think of it like a lane keep assist on your car. We could use it at opportune times to get our strikes.
And do you have something to say?
Yeah, I mostly was controlling weapon speed and was doing a little bit of corrective steering, but there were times in the match where I just had hands off the stick and it was doing all of the work. So yeah, this is the best this has ever operated.
Amazing. Well, that's pretty high tech. I'm pretty impressed by that. This is all new to me in this world, so I didn't even know you could have a partially non-manually driven robot. So congratulations. Thank you so much.
All right, we are loading in another fight in Cage 2. We have Pretty in Pink versus Berserker. We saw both of these robots at the last Open, and Berserker currently in the top 10 seeds of today's Open, and they have their sort of now iconic, now flashy golden horns. Pretty in Pink, a robot that is a modified SSP kit. I always love to see those. That's how I got my start in the sport alongside my brother Julian. They have put some additions and some flair on their robot that makes it not typical of other SSP kits. And they're running a vert hub motor. Let's see who has the stronger weapon here.
Yeah, those horns surprisingly effective on Berserker. I thought they were a gimmick, and I was proven
5,
wrong.
4,
Let's see if they hold up to this fight.
2, 1.
Fight, robots, fight.
Off we go. Strong start from Berserker. Pretty in Pink getting under Berserker very easily.
I think Pretty in Pink definitely has the ground game. I hope she uses that to her advantage.
Yeah, driver Edie Warnersbach has really been learning a lot very quickly. And you can see it on display. Berserker is not an easy robot to get under.
SSP kits like Pretty in Pink classically have very strong drive and very strong armor, so she can afford to make a couple driving mistakes and not get KO'd for it. I don't know if I can say the same for Berserker.
Ooh, big hits on Pretty in Pink, and Berserker chaining them together, adding to the considerable damage in the arena already. You may have noticed lots of bits, pieces, mars, and burns across the arena. We've had a wild day so far, and Berserker is keen to add to the damage. Pretty in Pink up against the rails, inverted, calling for their unstick. Berserker says, "You don't need that, I got you, girl." Pretty in Pink is free, but they are still upside down, and their weapon is not spinning. Is Berserker going to be able to help them out as we enter the second half of this fight?
This is a consequence of this configuration. They don't have a self-righting mechanism.
Oh, Pretty in Pink is right side up, but their fork is angled downward. It's setting them up as a tripod, none of their wheels touching the ground. Without a miracle and without any unsticks remaining, they're going to be counted out.
Knockout.
Mark Kansberg taking home a victory against Edie Warnersbach.
A great fight from both robots. Those hinged forks ended up being a little bit of a death sentence. Great driving by Edie.
I gotta say, Berserker looking just fresh and clean coming out of that match. Seems like a recharge and they could throw it right back into another one.
Yeah.
That is I can't emphasize enough how great it is to take that back to the pits. And you can see early in the match, Pretty in Pink did a great job getting under its opponent, delivering a little undercarriage hit here and there, sending Berserker flying. But it was these moments when Pretty in Pink sat upside down and Berserker was able to come back in, hitting vulnerable spots that made the big difference.
Absolutely. Being able to take those shots when they present themselves is part of why Berserker is the number 7 seed today. It's able to, the driver and the robot both themselves are able to zip forward, and when you're vulnerable, it takes the shot.
Yeah, as much as Berserker evokes this concept of unrestrained violence and aggression, it's actually picking and choosing the shots that gives them the edge in fights like this.
Well, Pretty in Pink has the amazing ground game of the SSP base. If she's watching the video later, what I would say is maybe a lower turn speed would help. Because when I was driving a Beetle weight most recently, I thought it mattered a heck of a lot. Being able to have a dialed-in turn speed that's not too fast. You actually don't want to be too fast because overshooting is bad. When your turn speed is a little lower, you can have precise, small left and right movements that allow you to stay square with your opponent. And when the opponent is vulnerable, you don't need extra time to turn. It's just you get a small turn the first time and you go straight. If you overshoot and then need to reorient yourself, that can cost valuable seconds. Well, quick sweep in Cage 2, and we are right back into it with Stickler versus another robot all the way from China, Butterfly.
Very fun. We talked a lot about Stickler earlier. This is an incredibly unusual design.
Does not get more unusual than this.
No, it truly does not. This is a bristlebot on one side. It's a shuffler bot on the other. It's a nearly full body beater bar, which is just bizarre to say. This is 5 different unusual design features all crammed into the same 3-pound package. We saw an absolutely explosive deconstruction of Stickler earlier in the day. This is the first time I've used the word trifurcated. It was blown into 3 huge portions at the end of last match. This is a robot that always does something. Now, the question is that something going to bring home a win for Jeff Schulenberger, or is Butterfly going to pull out a win of their own? As I think you mentioned, Dima, the hometown of Butterfly coming all the way from Shanghai, China. We have a few Chinese teams here today.
5,
incredible
4,
travels,
3,
incredible work.
2, 1.
Fight, robots, fight.
Really
Quick
sleek
start.
design on this 2-wheel drive vertical. Curious to see how they take this engage. It's kind of hard against. There you go. That's exactly what you want. A shot on Stickler's sides.
Ooh, these are big hits on Stickler. There is some weapon-to-weapon contact, and Butterfly goes flying. Incredibly apropos.
Drivers of Butterfly doing a fantastic job circling Stickler. And
Yep, but look, some of these hits from Stickler are landing right on the top of Butterfly. That is traditionally the weakest part of the robot.
Here we go.
Stickler looking like an incredibly avant-garde table lamp.
The coolest coat rack I've ever
Look
seen.
at this! It's twisting its own plastic.
Oh, dude, are you going to open up?
Yes. It spun so fast, it bent its drive system. This is going to be a count out very quickly. Butterfly.
Wow.
This is the same failure mode we saw earlier, Dima. The shaft on that motor on the kind of beefier side of Stickler is, wow, it did it again! 3 pieces blown apart.
Jeff just
And
walks
the middle
away.
piece is still spinning.
Jeff not even looking at the cage, just walks away and laughing.
Wild.
Knockout.
Absolutely wild, Dima. So composed on the butterfly team.
Very composed.
If I explode something that hard, I never look that just completely game-faced, poker-faced. I can't pull it off.
I've done that a couple times. Like, the fight's not over until the cage is open and where weapon locks are back in. There's no celebrating until I'm back in the pits. I completely understand this driver mindset.
Absolutely crazy. Look at that. That assembly has just been ripped from the rest of the robot. As I said earlier, it seems all of this relies on one motor shaft to tie it together, a central, integral piece that holds the robot together. And as soon as that is bent, the entire thing fights itself and can explode. And that's what we're seeing here again today.
Gonna be a little funny getting Stickler out of the cage. Yeah, grab this 1 piece, this 2 piece, this 3 piece. Butterfly team making sure that everything is all set to go. Fantastic driving. Really happy to have folks all the way from Shanghai here at NHRL. Shanghai, a lovely high-tech city of its own. Let's go to Carly cage side and see if she has anything for us.
Hey guys, I'm here with Jeff and Stickler in its many pieces. I think we have to ask the burning question, Jeff. What the heck happened in there?
Well, we have some print setting failures that have been happening today, but I'm overall happy with how it's performed today. It's had a lot of electronic issues in the past, and those have been completely gone. So we'll get it back together, and we'll be back with it again.
Great. Well, we can't say that wasn't really exciting to watch, but we hope you get it back together in time for your next fight.
I think I'm done for the
Yeah,
day.
I think you're
but
done
we'll
for
be
the
in
day.
grudges.
Great.
Well, they are going to get Cage 2 turned around for us. Our lovely Cage staff, keeping everything fresh and clean, at least as much as you can when you have a bevy of flame-throwing robots, destructive spinners, and every other kind of destructive device inhabiting the arena. This is going to be a really fun match. The 4 Horsemen, one of the few 4-piece multi-bots in competition here at NHRL, going up against Juxtaposition. As a little bit of background, we actually had a problem with one of the 4 segments earlier today. They weren't able to run all 4 of the 4 Horsemen. So this will be the 3/4 Horsemen, in effect, going up against Juxtaposition, a very large but still less weight overall robot than the 4 Horsemen.
Well, I think we have a couple replays from Adam and Sam from the last fight while we get Cage 2 loaded in.
Yeah, I think we're going to take a look at the second trifurcation of the day here of Stickler. We just saw this close up on the stream. Print failure, delamination in the motor holding internal components. We talk a lot about 3D printing here at NHRL, and it's really important to get your settings dialed in. You can see here as it's spinning, the entire shuffler system starts to wobble. This is where the 3D print inside is delaminating itself. Due to the forces there, you can see it's come off. But once it's on the wall, we'll get a nice trifurcation shot for you.
And Adam, how does a 3D print delaminate? Why would that happen?
It's a good question. So when we make a 3D print, it's really a whole bunch of 2-dimensional prints stacked on top of each other. And what happened here is those different layers, imagine like you've got layers of a cake, you put frosting in between. In this case, they just didn't stick well enough together. So if you don't have your heat settings dialed in right, your layers thicknesses the right thick, thickness, then they'll come apart like we have happening right here. Great moment of failure as it vibrates itself apart. You can see it's already disconnected. You probably have a thin sliver of plastic holding it on until it bursts out.
A self-inflicted yard sale. We're going to head to cage 2 right now for our next 3-pound match.
All right, I am so excited to see the 4 horsemen fight. This morning I said I always wanted more mythological names because they're so easy to make
5,
robots cool.
4, 3, 2, 1.
Fight.
Away
Robots
we
fight.
go. All 3 segments of the 4 horsemen off to an odd start.
Juxtaposition looking like the big brother robot, sort of just corralling all the kids.
You know, there's a critical mass below which it's really hard to damage your opponent, and I think 4 horsemen might be under that critical mass.
They're just flipping the robots over his head. Juxtaposition recently won Boxelmania. I don't know if any of the other commentators said that this morning, but I haven't even seen the footage yet. I can't wait to watch it. Pinning 2 at once.
Look at that burnout there, just spinning tires, pinning opponents into the wall, 2 at a time. It's one of the only times that, oh, look at that, picking it up by its own weapon like Arnold Schwarzenegger and a toddler. Swinging wildly.
I was going to say that it's like bumping them against each other like a cartoon, like grabbing them both by the head and smacking them together. This is like a rumble that we sometimes do before prime time, but this is just a normal fight.
This is almost absurd. This is absurd. No, it's not almost absurd. This is absurd. Juxtaposition just buffeting its opponents all around here.
Feels like whenever the lifter arm moves, something gets flipped up. The Cornell team watching with smiles on their faces, but a little bit wincing smiles as their horsemen are losing the horse race. Sorry, I don't want to speak too soon, but you guys are getting bullied a little bit.
Just a little. We're down to about a minute in the, just about a minute left in the fight, and this is all Juxtaposition's game. These robots look like toys compared to Juxtaposition. I will give them credit. These robots are still bringing it.
They are bringing it to the best of their ability.
Each of these horsemen is not giving up. They are attacking over and over again. One of the blades has been ripped off of the 4 horsemen.
Yeah, where did that go?
It's a great question, Dima. I think it's going to make a wonderful bit of... There it is. There it is. It's dressed above the N. It's like an asterisk above the left-hand corner of the N in NHRL.
Yep. Nice. That's, perfect
Some
flip.
good height from a juxtaposition flip. You don't see that every day. And credit to the 4 horsemen. This will be going the distance. This is going to a judge's decision.
Now, this did look a little, like the audience will tell you, it looked a little silly in Juxtaposition's favor, but I gotta say, Juxtaposition is maybe the best possible robot to take on 4 horsemen.
Yes.
Like, I could not ask for a worse matchup for 4 horsemen.
It has basically this wide stance that can scoop up multiple opponents at a time. It has squishy armor that can absorb the kind of hits that the 4 horsemen is wanting to deliver. And it has a level of durability that means none of those individual hits is ever reasonably going to be able to disable it. So it can take hit after hit. It can attack multiple robots at once. You are 100% correct. Nightmare matchup for the 4 horsemen in the form of Juxtaposition.
Some great driving by Kokoto, at this point, one of the NHRL staples. Sort of famous in a little bit of a viral sense for the multi-bot, the power of friendship, but Juxtaposition, less silly, but no less unusual in design. I really am a big fan of this robot. Asks a lot of why questions. Well, why do I want my arm to be longer than my forks? Why can't I go with this shape that's sort of off the ground? Let's take a look at a couple replays.
Look at that. I love it. It just scoops him up in its arms and takes him away and then lifts from a weapon that the cojones that it takes to say, yeah, that's spinning at 200, 300 miles an hour. I'm just going to grab it and lift it into the air like it's nothing. Even with these robots being smaller, that is nothing to scoff at.
No, it's when you think about it, you can break it down. It's not, I fought 3 really small beetles. I fought 3 fully functional ant-weight robots.
Right. It absolutely, that's directly comparable. Wild. Truly wild. Juxtaposition walked in like it was trying to subdue a pack of wild dogs.
And it did.
Bravo. It did. Let's go to Carly.
Hey guys, I'm here with Kikoto and Juxtaposition, and that was a really exciting match to watch. We want to know, have you ever battled that many robots at the same time before?
No. While I have my own multi-bot to Power Friends, I've actually rarely fought other multi-bots, and it's not easy, especially when there's 3 of them all around you in every direction. Every time I went towards one, another was behind me, and it was actually pretty scary for a while. I wasn't really sure what I was going to do.
Well, you didn't let the pressure get to you. You made it look easy. That was a really exciting match.
It certainly wasn't easy, though. It definitely wasn't easy. I don't know how, but I started having weapon issues for my spinner, which does make me a little bit worried for the judge's decision. Fortunately, I do have the lifter for this exact reason. I was still able to lift them, show control and aggression, and hopefully that's enough to get me over the edge there. But yeah, that was a pretty good fight, and they put up a great fight. I'm really happy how the robot worked.
Awesome. Well, thank you, Kikoto. We're going to go back to the booth with Dima and Ricky.
Thank you.
Thank you, Carly. Man, the action just does not stop. We just had a fight in Cage 2. We're already loading it back up. We have Money Shot versus dumpster winner from WPI, Showtime.
Showtime has put on some really, true to its name, entertaining fights over the last few events that it is competed at.
Oh my! I'm not sorry to interrupt you. Just while the camera's on the blade, look at the design on Money Shot with the $3 signs cut into the blade. Does not get sicker than this.
I love the enthusiasm, Dima.
And the dopest hoodie in the room.
Oh, without a doubt. Without a doubt.
Some robots are cool. Some robots are cute. This one is dope, I think.
I like it. I like
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Fight, robots.
Here we go.
Fight.
Ooh, both robots taking a beating in that exchange. Money Shot coming out a little worse out of the 2 of them.
Taller weapon. What I want to do is I would try to dig into that motor from the side.
Showtime getting the better of those 2 exchanges and then ending up on its head. This is very back and forth. It could go either way. This is all about weapon aim, it seems like, except now Money Shot's weapon is down. Is Showtime's as well? We'll find out when they decouple. We'll see if Showtime's weapon is also down.
They went down at the same time. Really convenient for both driving strategies. You don't have to worry about the weapon.
It does seem that Showtime's is lastingly disabled. Money Shot, though, high-centered on something, not able to move at all. I think, yes, the unstick was a quick and easy one. But Showtime, out of the 2 robots, Showtime is better suited to win pushing matches and show off functionality without a working weapon.
And, well, when weapons are down and we're not worried about the weight of those things, think about it like 4-wheel drive versus 2-wheel drive.
Yeah, so often that and the geometry of the robot is what makes all the difference. And Showtime is showing why its configuration is better suited when your weapon goes down.
No unstick. This is a bad spot to be.
It does look like they could get loose, but it's going to be really close.
You'd see him going.
That is a knockout.
Oh. When we zoomed out on the camera, you could kind of see him going a little nuts with his thumbstick there, trying to get off the cage. That is what you want to do, but sometimes geometry just ain't in your favor.
Yeah, you try everything you can. You even saw a little hit on the cage there at the end. No sweat for him doing that after the fight.
Yeah.
Worth mentioning, though, you cannot do that during a fight. manipulating the cage or trying to shake things.
Yeah, this ain't pinball. You don't get to shake the thing.
Exactly. And the reason is pinball usually doesn't hit back, with the force of a rifle bullet. And that can happen at the NHRL arenas if you time it poorly. So tough luck for Money Shot. I think that weapon went down and made pretty much anything after that point an uphill battle. But excellent showing from Showtime in terms of driving. The weapon going down, that's something they're going to have to address. They're going to head back to the pits, figure out what went wrong, and if they can fix it in time for their next fight. I sure hope so, because it does not get easier for them moving forward.
Right you are, Ricky. It doesn't get any easier as the day goes on.
I don't know why, Dima, but you said that, and I was thinking you said right, period. You are Ricky.
You are. If you forget for any moment, I'll be here to remind you.
Yeah, it's hard to keep track with all these robots. What personal identities really matter.
Got to remember a lot of the names of builders in the pit. Then you got to remember first names, like we got Huey and we got Cole.
Well, and speaking of lots of robots to keep track of, I think Sam and Adam are going to help us out here. Give us a little info on the Pro Tour and all the robots that will be competing there in just a few weeks.
We sure are, Ricky. Thank you so much. Showtime took that one, and they have already qualified for the first Pro Tour event here at NHRL, which is coming up in 2 weeks. And this is their group. It's got Showtime, it's got Who's Earl, it's got Rhino, and out of retirement, Adam, it's Silent Spring.
You got to think Silent Spring is going to be the favorite in that group, but Showtime's going to have something to say about it.
I'd imagine they would. And let's take a look at Group D as well, where we have fan favorite Chainsaw Kitty. We've got Fragment X, we've got Chippy, and we've got Terabyte, formerly Shoddy's girlfriend, if folks are familiar with them qualifying earlier this year. Here's how they match up. Any of these stand out to you, Adam?
Yeah, I mean, so we just saw Showtime. We talked about Silent Spring. That Showtime Silent Spring fight in Group C is going to be incredible. And then I also think that Fragment X Chainsaw Kitty is going to be the battle of verts. Should be another good one.
These are some cool groups. I'm so excited for the Pro Tour event in 2 weeks. But until then, we've got today's qualifying event, and we've got a match loaded in Cage 2.
We'll take it from there. We got another match in Cage 2. Some more 3-pound robot action for you.
Looks like we have recent dumpster winner Blunder, driven by Evan Rosenblatt from Team WPI, versus Why Tie Harder Mark III, driven by Robert Keys from Team ARC out of Virginia. I kind of like abbreviating this robot as WTH as a sort of what the heck.
Yeah, I'm there with it. I'm there for it, rather. I'll be there with it, too, if you want.
Fun fact about the driver of Why Tie Harder, they worked on the new live-action Lilo and Stitch and Moana movies.
Very fun. I love the beefy look to the wheels on Why Tie Harder.
Wait, they were also a contestant on Junkyard Wars? Hello? One of my favorite shows to fall asleep to?
You know, I got accepted to compete on that show.
Why didn't you?
5,
Because I was 7.
4, 3, 2, 1.
Away we
Fight,
go.
robots, fight.
Whoa.
Check it out. That was a hell of a hit from Blunder.
Looks like Ty Harder's high centered it.
It looks like Ty Harder's turning off, and as soon as it turns back on, Blunder swoops in for the kill. This is incredibly precise timed hits from Blunder, doing an incredible job.
Why Ty Harder is chunking off Blunder's wedge, though.
Oh, yeah, that wedge is starting to taco, and smoke is starting to come out of Blunder.
A few crucial undercuts could seal the deal. I don't want to speak too soon.
If Blunder can't get itself inverted quickly, it won't get itself inverted at all. There it is, just in the nick of time, but in the process, it knocks out its own weapon. That was the absolute last moment for Blunder to re-invert itself, and it does so, but at a huge cost. This is entirely Why Tie Harder's fight to lose at this point.
Good way to put it. This fight is very different from how it looked in the first 30 seconds. Blunder looked like it was going to toss around Ty Harder. Made it look sort of light and bouncy and jumpy, but now Ty Harder...
There are wild noises coming out of the arena now. Blunder's going to try to turn this into a pushing match while Ty Harder is inverted, but that is risky business. You hear those high-pitched noises, Dima. That is not a good sign for the weapon motor on Ty Harder. That's putting stress that's not designed to be there.
If they can survive to the end and keep their weapon alive, that will be fantastic for condition score in the judges' eyes. But they got to get there. We got 1 minute, 10 seconds left. You don't want to let your motor die, but you do also want to try to kill him.
No, but now the drive system on Ty Harder down again. They're having intermittent electronics issues and a wheelie from the house bot, almost landing on top of Ty Harder.
Been a while since I've seen one of those.
You know, just a little peek up the undercarriage.
45
here.
seconds left. The weapon looks like it's spinning, but weakly. Once they lock horns like this, it can't spin.
Yeah, that high-pitched noise is a sad, sad motor. It works, but they need to spin up at a distance and then attack. It's going to take longer, it's going to hit more weakly, and they need to be incredibly strategic in these last 30 seconds. And there it is again, the drive system going down after a big hit and struggling to come back to life.
Strafing on the wall, kind of unusual.
That last exchange could make all the difference in a judge's decision as we head into the last 10 seconds of the match. Will their drive system be able to come back? It does! And at the moment that it does, Blunder's drive system takes a beating and goes down.
Is that
We're going to take a look closely. Let's try and get a shot of the prove it period. This is the moment after the fight where the robots show off their functionality.
But that was the last 5 seconds. That was the KO count out, not the timer count out. What's the deal here?
We're going to find out in a moment. Now, functionality during the prove it period can never take away from your score. We saw that Ty Harder was moving at the end of that fight. The fact it's not moving now does not. Oh, yeah. I am being told
they got that the count ended.
The count did end. It was a knockout
in the last 10 seconds.
Wow. Wow, and let's confirm this was a knockout in favor of Blunder, correct?
Yeah.
Just to make sure, just to be absolutely clear, Blunder walks home with a victory by KO in the last seconds of that match.
But
Ty Harder just was. They were so close.
They were moving as the arena went red.
Yeah.
It's like when the ref counts out to 10 and the boxer can stand up on 10.
Hey, listen, whether it's an inch or a mile, a win is a win. And Blunder is the one that took home the win in this fight.
I mean, if I was Evan, I'd be all smiles too.
It doesn't get any closer than that, folks. What a wild end to a completely unpredictable fight.
That was a wild fight. 3 minutes have elapsed? I feel like I've been in this fight for 15. Ty Harder did a super impressive job of... they did get unstuck in the last second. They were stuck on something and strafing sideways, and they got it loose. I want to say last possible moment, but it was just a moment past the last possible moment. Blunder proving once again that its name is a little bit of an oxymoron.
Listen, you set those expectations low, Dima. You can only exceed them.
Me and my brother, we have a sort of running Google Doc of names we can use. I would love to put loser on that list and have a robot that is underdog from the start. But we're going to go over to Carly, who I think is a special guest for us.
I do have a special guest. This is Glenn. He's our cage side steward. And we want to know, this was an interesting fight. Was this a knockout, judge's decision? What was going on there?
This fight came down to the last split second. He's counting down 2, 1, knock, and then he moved. He was saying knockout. It is a knockout.
That's great. We got the inside scoop on the referee's decision. Thank you so much, Glenn.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Let's go right back into the box. Back sweeping again.
Personally, I'm really happy to see Glenn in the sort of staff zone when he's not competing. I'm just a big Glenn head all around. He's great when he's stewarding these tournaments. He's great as a competitor. Getting ready to load back into cage 2.
Yeah, we are sticking with the 3-pound robots.
This looks
Work
like
our way through this bracket.
Cole, the number 10 seed, versus Metaray. I love that name. Some really cool design on Metaray, too.
Yeah, the design on Metaray does deserve a little bit of extra call out here. There is such attention to detail that has gone into the appearance of this robot, and I haven't gotten a chance to see a lot of its fights, but the design inclusions seem to be very intentional. I don't know how well they're going to work, but they definitely seem as though they have intent behind them. They're not just aesthetic. These are functional features. And that, to me, is my favorite kind of engineering, when something can be form and function at the same time. So, and I gotta say, I'm just a sucker for big googly eyeballs. I don't think those have a specific function in mind. I think that, well, maybe their function is to just delight us here in the play-by-play booth.
Emotional manipulation, a key component of driving to success here at NHRL. The sort of, the googly eyes was like a little bit of a common fad you saw at NHRL when I started, but I haven't seen him in a while, so it's nice to see him again.
Now, I am being told that Metaray has what it's claiming the beefiest tangential drive system ever built. So for those that aren't familiar with tangential drive, basically it's a motor whose shaft is pushing right up against the wheel. It's like spring-loaded against the wheel usually, or at least compressed against the wheel. And what this means is you don't have a gearbox, you don't have belts, you don't have a chain. You just have a motor pushing against a wheel, and this saves complexity, it saves weight, sometimes it's very reliable. The downside to it is that if the tire itself gets shredded up, it will stop dead in its tracks.
Mm-hmm.
So you need either very durable wheels and tires, or you need to be very good at driving so they don't get hit.
You can't afford to take damage on tangential drive like that.
Exactly. So,
Sam Papple, the driver of Metaray, power cycle a little bit. Let's see if that worked for them. I would really, yeah, let's go.
And we are in business.
Things are working.
You can see some extra armor on the top of Metaray. That, of course, is going to be their hope against an overhead cutter like Cole.
5,
but I don't know if it's going to be
4,
enough. We'll find out
3,
right now.
2, 1.
Fight, robots.
Away we go.
fight.
Cole off to a fast start. Metaray able to get under Cole almost immediately and send Cole into the air.
Those hits on the underside gotta hurt.
And immediate drive side issues on the right hand of Cole. Even the left side isn't in great shape.
Yeah, that's bad for a hammer saw because they gotta get a pin if they want that one-hit kill.
Metaray just diving straight into the belly of the beast.
Losing some control. They don't want to give up their underside. Cole might snipe you.
Metaray trying to gyro their way to right side up, and they pull it off, but just barely.
Looks like Cole is able to drive straight, though not very quickly.
So far, those tires are holding up okay on Metaray. So is the weapon.
Cole dug into the ground for just a second there. Almost was a shot right where they wanted it. Alex picked
Cole not moving at all as it's pushed into the pink corner.
All right, we move.
They're able to revive, But things are going wrong in that row. Look at that!
2 things went wrong just there.
Both forks shoring off the front of metaray as metaray tumbles across the arena floor.
Now you can't win the ground game so easily neither.
No, and those forks are critical for the stability of metaray. Every time they hit now, they're going to go flying. They have to be very careful from this point forward. This is anybody's game. We're in the second half of the match. And metaray's now upside down, taking a big shot from Cole to the underbelly.
Didn't look like it got any damage, but let's get another.
Oh, it took some Dima and more.
Cole's having trouble spinning the blade, though. The arm's working, but not the blade on the end of it. It's gotta matter. Metaray not really able to drive straight without kicking up. They'd have to be very slow and careful if they want to.
Yeah, if they aren't incredibly careful, every time they slow down, the front of their robot digs into the ground and their weapon hits the ground and goes flying. Look at this, metaray stuck on top of Cole. The two trying to separate with a deadly dance. I don't think either robot knows what to do with this situation in the last. Oh,
there we go.
What a beautiful hit for the end of this fight.
So the weapon can spin up, it just needs a little time.
Yeah, I think it's got a little bit of damage, but it's still clearly functional enough to do work. Both of these competitors putting on a great show. Now we're in the prove it period. The weapon and wheels on metaray doing a great job. They seem to be fully functional, but of course the forks have been removed. We saw movement from Cole and some weapon functionality. In fact, it looks like the movement on Cole is improved from earlier in the fight.
Yeah, it looks like
something got beaten back into submission and was able to drive again.
Something was locked up and then became unlocked. Good fight, good fight.
Nutty. It's the best word I have for it. That was a very strange but very fun fight.
That's what I mean sometimes when these fights require a little bit of thinking on your feet. Is you can prepare all you want for a normal fight. You can simulate all the box rushes you want, but what happens when both of your forks come off at the exact same time? And it's a hammer saw that's wider than you, and you got to drive with a weapon that's much harder to control. It's harder to plan for those things. It's even harder to practice for those things.
That is absolutely right. Absolutely right.
So even more kudos to Sam Papple for drive. This isn't the robot's first event, but this is their first NHRL, which is, you know, the home of high-powered competition in 312 and 30s.
Yeah, speaking of high-powered competition, we are going to go to Sam and Adam. They're going to tell us all about the high-powered competition.
We sure are. And this high-powered competition is NHRL's very first Pro Tour event, and that is coming up in 2 weeks. And here we have a glimpse of the 3-pound Group E.
Yeah, we're going to have Colossus, Usagi, Power On, and War Hard in this one. This is exciting. Colossus, super unique robot.
Usagi is capable of reaching Colossus, though.
Yeah, and that's going to be the fight that starts off this group is a Colossus-Usagi matchup. Colossus, one of the largest 3-pounders we've ever seen, and Usagi is going to try and reach up and hit their underbelly.
It's cool to see Warhard coming back up out of Texas. I'm excited to see Power On, the little Makabot. This is a cool group. I like Group E for the 3-pounders. But let's head right on over to Cage 1, where we've got some big bot action. And Adam, we get to call this one. That's
a lot of fun. We're up close and personal for this fight here.
All right, this is a 12-pound match. We've got Roar E in the pink corner. Desserts in the blue.
5, 4, 3, 2,
4-wheel drive verts here.
Fight, robots, fight.
Ooh. Dessert's not spinning up as much as they would like to. Trying to run away and get that weapon going. It doesn't look to be going.
Rory's revved up, has yet to connect. There we go. Inverting. Desserts.
Dessert is serving itself up like dessert here. If they don't tap out and request an unstick, oh.
Unstick has been requested. Here comes Flo, but also here comes Rory.
Rory unable to connect here on these juicy setups. Flo also just kind of sitting back. I don't think the unstick has really been completed here. That's a bit surprising. I would have thought Flo would have gotten in. I mean, it didn't seem like 20 seconds of attempt.
Definitely seemed like a quick one.
That's a knockout.
That's a knockout.
A bit disappointing there for Desserts. I think they would have wanted a little bit more help after the little bit of an interference there from Rory, but
You know what,
Rory's
Adam,
going to take the KO.
I wonder if them getting back on their feet ever so briefly was considered
Were they
the
back on their
completion
feet? I
of
thought
the
they were
unstick.
just kind of flipping around. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
But a quick one nonetheless.
Yeah, quick fight. Rory's going to like that one coming out without any damage. And for a loss, just Desserts isn't really going to have that much damage either. Let's take a look at the replay here and see what happened.
All right,
So
I'm
we can
looking for
see
blue
Desserts is stuck. They request an unstick here, and Rory's going to come in and attempt to give it to them.
There was a request. 2:29 on the clock.
So they're getting hit, still upside down, still upside down, still upside down, still upside down. They were kind of moving.
They were moving on their own accord.
Well, it's an interesting question. When does an unstick stop? As soon as you start moving or when you're back on your feet? I guess maybe as soon as you start moving.
Based on this,
Yeah. So Desserts maybe messing up the unstick a little bit there, getting themselves restuck pretty fast. Well, you see something new every day, Sam.
And why is that in fighting robots? There's always something unique in either the physics department, the rules department.
How many thousands of fights have we had here, and yet we still end up with new ways to end a match?
I think that's part of the draw of this whole thing is you don't know what you're going to see in the ring, and it may be really weird.
Oh, we've got two more robots loading into cage one here. And I think we've got some flames loading into cage one here, Sam.
I think so too. This looks like the MIT team, and I believe it is Hot Dog.
Hot Dog, spelled with a W.
And they are going up against Stag. Michael Cross's 12-pound version of Stag Beetlebot.
Now, Hot Dog, earlier today we saw them. The flames were looking pretty good. The wheels were not really working as well as they would have wanted. Their maneuverability was a bit hampered. This is a Mecanum robot where the Mecanum rollers, these are an omnidirectional wheel technology, allows them to drive sideways, but the rollers are made out of cleats. No one has ever attempted this before. There's no rubber on those rollers. They're cleated metal little saw blades, effectively. But getting that to work is kind of hard.
Yeah, why is this the first time we've seen cleats on Mecanum wheels?
Yeah, it's really hard to do it. But if you could, the advantages are clear because the biggest fault of this wheel type is they don't get a lot of traction.
Right.
But cleats get a ton of traction. So if you can overcome that, you're going to get maneuverability and pushing power. And for a flame robot, that would be huge. Now, this is a robot that's in progress. Who knows if it's going to work or not, but I'm hoping we could see some great flames because they really were shooting pretty far earlier today.
Yeah, if the butane is anything to go off of, they've got some reach on this weapon.
Two parts of a flamethrower need to work. Sab, you got your butane. That looks to be working great. The igniter, on the other hand, does not seem to be working too well right now.
Well, there's an opportunity, regardless of whether that igniter is functioning, for the flames to ignite. Either one of these two-part hot dogs could ignite the other one.
Now, I do think if they cannot ignite the flames, it might not count as a weapon, and they might not be able to start unless at least one of these halves can ignite the flame. But we'll see The refs are talking here.
Yeah, I didn't even see any butane coming out of the pink-wheeled one.
Looks like they're having a discussion cage side about whether they're going to proceed.
I'm going to go eavesdrop. Well, I just heard the F word. That's a forfeit.
Oh, that is unfortunate. Hot Dog is a complex robot. Each of their wheels has dozens of components in it, and a flamethrower is never as easy as it looks to get working.
All right. Hot Dog is going to lose by forfeit. They needed to have their weapon functioning prior to the start of the match in order for this match to happen. So unfortunately, we're going to pull all these robots out of cage 1 here.
You can see just not all the wheels spinning on this robot as it tries to get back to the door. The cannon wheels are particularly sensitive. If you lose one, you lose a lot of your ability to translate around.
Now, Adam, it kind of sounds like this style of wheel has a significant number of downsides. I know that you have used them on some of your robots.
So I used this style of wheel for years in the heavyweight class, the 250-pounders, and it's a lot of fun when you're driving sideways around the arena. It's really hard to fight against when it's working, but it is extremely complicated to get it to work. But this team is from MIT, and I do believe we'll see them again with a functional system at some point in the near future.
All right. So, Michael, how does it feel when you're raring to go for a fight? You've loaded into the box, and you got to pull it out because your opponent's not quite ready.
Well, I mean, you get the win, but that's not necessarily the way we want to do it. I would have much preferred a good fight and maybe see some fire, see how Stag holds up to it. I wish they could have just gotten in. It's a little disappointing, but I feel like it's more disappointing for them.
I would imagine so. Have you yourself ever been in this position?
No, I think I just winged it with whatever I had.
And, well, it's unfortunate this match didn't end up happening. It would have been cool to see how your majority TPU Stag held up to these flamethrowers, but maybe you'll fight another one in the future. There's a bunch in the 12-pound class.
Little info. I've got a secret sauce on my TPU that helps make it a little more fire retardant.
All right, the formerly secret sauce. Now folks know about it, but hopefully we'll see it tested in the future.
Oh, yeah. All they know is it's secret sauce.
All right. Thank you, Michael. Back to you, Adam.
Michael with the amazing planetary gearbox necklace there, some bling at the competition. I do look forward to seeing if that secret sauce in the TPU works. Maybe one day we'll find out what that secret sauce is. But disappointing for both teams there to come out without a fight. But sometimes that is what you get when you try to bite off a little bit extra complexity, as it doesn't always work. But as we've seen here many times at NHRL, if you try enough, then it'll start working. And I think we even saw that with the MIT team themselves. You know, Ares has become extremely dangerous in the 30-pound class. Didn't really start out that way, and they built it up over time, figuring out what worked and what didn't to get it to that point. And I think if we see that with Hot Dog, that could be really scary, as we've seen multi-bot flamethrowers be very effective in the 30-pound class. And in the 12-pound class, a little bit extra maneuverability and the relatively larger arena, that strafing would provide a really strong advantage. I really do look forward to seeing it.
It's cool that Kazaa Light has affected the meta in other weight classes. We saw it with Titanium White Cousins in the 3-pound class. We're seeing it multiple times today with both Hot Dog and the Power of Hatred. So it goes to show if you win the championship, you might influence other people.
Every so often, a robot comes along that looks a little bit different from the rest, does well, and suddenly it doesn't look a little bit different from the rest anymore as the rest come along and copy it. So it's cool to see a new meta developing here. I think if you went back a few years and said multi-bot flamethrowers were going to be the thing in 2026, I don't know if people would have believed you.
Especially in these bigger weight classes. But we're going to call this next fight from the booth. That's Ricky and Dima are going to take it away, and I'm stoked. We got more flames in the cage.
Thank you. I'm sorry to interrupt. I might just be a little particularly excited for this one.
Can't imagine why.
I can. I think it seems a little obvious. Power of Hatred is... there's multiple drivers right there, but it is captained by my brother Julian.
I got to say, too, Power of Hatred was a joy from a organizational sense. As someone who has to work on the safety aspects of flame robots, this was a design that showed up ready, tested, communicated ahead of time, clearly went through the paces to make sure that this would be competitive right out of the box. And we have seen that all day long. These robots have put on a display of performance that you don't usually see from 3-part multibots, period, let alone a first-time entry of a 3-pound multibot. These robots are, honestly, each one of them is able to deliver a serious amount of damage and pushing power on their own.
4,
and with 3 in the arena, anything can happen.
2, 1.
Fight, robots, fight.
Quick start. It is amazing to see these 3 parts are all larger than Luna is on its own.
Folks, there's a difference between burning and being on fire, and a couple of the robots look like they're on fire.
Yeah, I think Power of Hatred is walking that line pretty... oh my God, that's so much fire, Dima. Forget the commentary, it's just so much fire.
There's 3 of them. It's chaos. We're balls of fire in the cage.
I can barely tell what's going on.
Luna's getting burnt up right now, though, by every angle. This is very scary, too, because you can't tell how much damage is being done.
No, you have to guess, basically, how close is my robot to burning up from the inside out.
Usually you kind of feel by if your drive starts to slow down. That's usually how people start to tell.
Oh, look at that. The orange part of Power of Hatred being thrown into the air. Flame breaking out from every which way. I think Power of Hatred's orange section is just on fire. I don't think that's a flamethrower or anything. I think that is a bonfire.
Yeah, just on fire. JOF. Close to halfway through this fight. The winner of this fight moves on to bracket, but the loser of this fight will get eliminated. So this is a fight for their lives.
So let's take inventory here. The red part of the Power of Hatred is moving just fine. The other 2 halves struggling fiercely.
It's not a surprise that the Julian segment is probably the most practiced with this robot.
Ooh, big hit there on the orange segment. A wheel is starting to fall off from the Power of Hatred's orange section.
If I'm Luna, I want to keep them separated, but if I'm Power of Friendship, I want to just suffocate, smother them, ironically, because they're using fire.
Yeah, it's the moral of every story is like never split up. And even then,
perfect.
Power of Hatred is able to deliver this incredible pin and this nice burn. That flame's not doing everything it could, but it is still affecting damage.
It was right on the belt, too. And the back. And concentrated in one spot.
Look at that. The spinning blade on Luna is almost able to extinguish the fire on the Power of Hatred.
That's super interesting.
Luna might be showing us today that flames aren't as unstoppable as some builders have decided they might be.
Power of Hatred. Some complicated functionality. The prove-it period is going to be really important here. I'm impressed with Luna's survivability here.
Luna appears fully functional. They certainly got a couple of moments of barbecue in there, but I can't see any major damage. Now, if we go through the other segments, the black section of the Power of Hatred barely a wheel, just self-ejecting from the orange section.
Now, does that count towards your condition if it happens during the prove it period?
It does not. But that wheel was also not working beforehand either. I don't know if it. Yeah, this is something I'd have to ask the judges. If a wheel ejects afterwards, but it already wasn't working, is that going to reflect more extremely?
What if it is working in the prove it period and then just comes off?
It's a great question. These are the particularities
Corner
of the
cases.
judging that come down to practice and best judgment. We try to make the judging rules fairly objective, but there is always a human element to it.
That one went to the judges. I have a feeling I know how the judges are going to score. And if they love my brother as much as me, Julian would be moving on into bracket. So we'll see if that's the case.
We will find out. Look at that big squishy weapon lock they put in there. I like the little bubblegum brick.
It's just like the house bots. Every segment of Power of Hatred has its own expression.
Yeah. There's a happy one, a surprised one, and an angry one.
I love the classic combined Turbo Fiend and Mako color scheme. Merry Christmas.
It's a good look. Well, we will find out from the judges soon enough, but let's see if we can get perhaps a replay or some other footage. I would love to see kind of where that fight took a turn. It became very decisive at a certain point to me that the Power of Hatred was disadvantaged.
Yeah.
And I think what happened is that the black section really struggled to move early. The orange section got worn down, and instead of a 3-on-1 barbecue match, it kind of became a hunt for Red May.
Yeah.
It was really changing the dynamics of the fight. And once you go from a multi-bot situation to being able to target one robot at a time, the value of having a heavier robot becomes so extreme.
So much more apparent. But Carly is cage side with Julian, who might have some more info.
Yes, I am here with Julian and the Power of Hatred, and it's hot over here, my friend. People want to know, do you love all your sons equally?
My sons? What is that supposed to mean? These robots, I hate all 3 of them. There's like 4 or 5, actually. I hate them all. I can't stand these things.
Well, they all were on fire at one point, so I can tell your parenting style.
I really hope I lost that because I do not want to deal with 3 of these robots. An entire motor fell out of one of them. So I really hope I lost. But either way, that was so much fun, right?
Right. It was really fun. I was having a great time watching that. It was very exciting. Oh, he's such a tender dad. We want to know, what do you have to fix?
Look at the freaking robots. What do I have to fix, lady? Come on. I got to try to bend all these forks back into place. That motor's completely destroyed. And, who knows? Who knows at this point?
All right, Julian, you go and take care of your kids, and we're going to go back to the booth with Dima and Ricky. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Carly. And we're going to head back into Cage 1 for another big bot fight.
For anybody who's interested in having a Mako shirt of their own, who is at home watching, head on over to MakoMerch.com, by the way. In plugging that, I'll also make sure to remind everybody that all fights, even ones off-stream, and all camera angles are available on Breadzone.com. So today, tomorrow, in between the KO and primetime, any fight that you want to see, go on over and watch it. But right now, we have
FTP and Ruin Force. Drew Davis has really been doing some work with FTP today. He got a barbecue of his own a little earlier today, but it was not enough to knock him out of the tournament. And Ruin Force looking positively evil in the arena. Have you gotten a chance to catch a Ruin Force fight today, Dima?
Yeah. Unfortunately, it was against Emulsifier. So I didn't get to see them strut their stuff too much. They looked very competent at the very start of the fight, though. It's Emulsifier. So sometimes the seeding works against you.
Well, we'll see. Both of these robots are in a do and die situation.
3,
we'll see who goes and who dies.
1.
Fight, robots, fight.
Ruin Force struggling to stay spinning there. I hear angry noises from that corner of the arena. We'll see if they can keep things going. A nice hit on the front of FTP, but Ruin Force slowing down. That blade on Ruin Force needs to really kick hard if they want to take down a robot like FTP. That is a sturdy opponent.
That's true, and because they're two-wheel drive, they maybe don't have the speed and maneuverability to be able to get around them very easily.
They don't. Now, that weapon went down again on Ruin Force and spun back up, but from the sounds of it, it's not going full blast. In fact, it's slowing down again. I think a few well-timed hits from FTP could be all it takes to knock Ruin Force out of the running. In fact, Ruin Force is not moving at all now. There it is. Just a little, just enough to avoid a knockout. Oh, what a turn of events. FTP is upside down now. Just the moment that Ruin Force needs, except Ruin Force is now having drive issues. And if they're not on top of their game, FTP is going to right themselves by running into the arena wall, and Ruin Force is going to ruin their opportunity. And there it is. Oh, so close. Yes, they've done it. FTP right side up. And they're just one good hit away from a win here.
Yeah, when they were vulnerable, Ruin Force with half their drive locked up just didn't have the ability to get over and take those hits.
Oh, look at that plastic being ripped from the front of FTP.
Fight's not over yet. Anything can happen.
Ooh, that is a killer shot.
That's a
You
gear
see that
off.
white gear? That's a drive gear from the front of Ruin Force. And look at the entire assembly. The entire weapon assembly is halfway ejected from Ruin Force. That was a killer, killer hit. A lot of damage in one exchange.
Such a great fight. I really like that two-wheel drive, heavy gear sort of configuration, not configuration, but overall build that they went with.
Well, heavy gear, it needs to be heavy duty.
Yeah.
And what we saw in that fight was not heavy duty. It certainly functioned, but you need to be dead nuts reliable, and frankly, it just wasn't there in this match.
It has some fragility too. I would be interested in seeing that same design with maybe wheel guards around the wheel and gear system to protect them or keep them totally enclosed.
Lots and lots of good options.
Ruin Force is very promising. I want to see it in the cage again.
Well, we will not see Ruin Force again today, but we will see FTP. FTP is making its way into the main tournament bracket. Ruin Force is going to be making its way home, but I have a feeling we are going to see Dylan McCarthy and Ruin Force again in the near future as he attempts to punch his ticket to the Pro Tour here at NHRL.
One of Drew Davis's fun facts on his builder sheet is that he can do a handstand for a long time. Drew Davis, if you make it to primetime, let's see how long you can go.
Well, we are going to come out of that fight and head into a replay hosted by Sam and Adam.
Yeah. Thanks, Ricky. Let's run this one back, Adam.
Yeah, so we're going to look at pretty much, I think, the whole fight here. You can see FTP just really getting the better of the ground game right off the bat.
Yeah, they have ground game.
Yeah, great looking comb wedge in the front. Ruin Force being a horizontal, you would think would have the ability to kind of take those off. That wasn't happening. And you can see that big hit there to end it as the gear, these like nice little 3D printed gears, that wheel gets crushed. One of them just plops right off.
Was that from the weapon, you think, Adam?
Right there, it's the side. I think it was a drive wheel gear, no? Maybe we could slow it down.
Oh, yeah.
And maybe we could see where it comes from.
Because there's white at both drive sides.
I think you're right in that came out of the weapon, because I'm still seeing white on both the drive sides. So we're seeing it, and then the weapon itself is completely detached. Some gourmet damage there as the weapon detaches and high centers both wheels. You can see them both spinning, but with the blade sideways and one of these 3D printed gears off to the side, nothing they were able to do You can see the frame here is also a bit twisted from one of the other impacts. FTP is a lot of force. We saw earlier today they got beat by flame, but here they were able to bring their kinetic energy to bear.
Nice. All right, well, enough of these 12-pounders. Let's head back to cage 2 where we've got some 3-pound action with Project Liftoff and Ironhide. Ironhide coming out of the UMD Leatherbacks team. Project Liftoff, simply the best melty brain in all of fighting robots.
2, 1.
Fight, robots, fight.
And we are off! Project Liftoff, classic air hockey style.
Project Liftoff's like distinctive sound as it spins up to speed.
Woo. Inverted. I like Ironhide's really slow approach, not trying to let Project Liftoff get a significant amount of bite on them.
Yeah, it's a good point. They're going in slow. The faster they go in, the more they're going to get that overlap of the tooth of Project Liftoff into their weapon. Approaching, trying to use their wedge, it seems like.
Wow.
It's really working well here, Sam, as they're popping Project Liftoff
Uh-oh,
into the ceiling.
Adam. I'm not seeing PLO move at all. Their blade is bent. The ref is counting them down.
A lot of hand action on the sticks.
They've used it. Is it going to make a difference? Flashing red lights on the headers. Sounds of frustration from Jim Kasmer.
It doesn't look like it's going to come back to life. We've got some blinky red lights of death here on the top of Project Liftoff.
Yeah. I've had an Xbox like that.
Oh!
Oh my goodness! They are back up to speed. This match continues.
I wonder if Ironhide is going to regret not going in while they had a moment there.
Maybe not. PLO slowing down again, and they cannot be flipped. Their blade is very bent. That will prevent their wheels from touching the ground.
Yeah, if they go back the other way, they will not be able to move. Oh, is Ironhide having a little bit of drive issue there? They were pirouetting a bit. Slow and controlled, like you mentioned, Sam.
There's still bite happening.
Ironhide looks slower than they might want to be, and their weapon is no longer spinning at all here.
There's certainly something loose up there.
30 seconds left in this fight, and Project Liftoff has really flipped the script.
Yeah, I don't know if Ironhide is going slow to prevent Project Liftoff from getting a lot of bite at this point. I think they're just slow.
At this point, the slow might not be on purpose as they're sent into the wall. The fight is coming to an end, and Project Liftoff spent the last 30 seconds in dominant fashion. I would have loved to see one last hit there at the end as time ran down, but Project Liftoff leaves Ironhide in the side. The crowd liked what they saw in that fight. Back and forth battle, Sam.
This one is going to the judges. Doing the prove it period. Jim, what were those flashing red lights we saw?
It worked.
It worked. It did work, yes. What were the flashing red lights when it wasn't working?
So for some reason, in April I lost because the bot went into program mode. And I actually reproduced that and I got rid of that defect. Now the bot is resetting on me and I panic and I have to arm the bot, and there's like this 5-step thing I have to do, and when I'm under pressure, I perform poorly.
And so that's like a sequence of flipping switches, doing your throttle.
Andrew and I were talking, and it's like he said pretty much, I know if I'm resetting. I should just skip the whole arming process and just keep running. So I'm going to work on that. I'd like to figure out why it's resetting, but having it just not wait for the arming if it's already been running for a while. We'll solve the problem.
Now, Jim, I know there's a lot of code in the bot itself, but do you run any Lua scripts on your transmitter?
Any what?
Scripts.
No scripts on the transmitter. It's all code on the microprocessor.
Very cool. All right, I'm going to stop distracting this whole thing from getting unloaded, but thank you. Adam, what do you got from that one?
I mean, it's really interesting to hear. I mean, it's good to know what the problem is. They've got the solution all lined up, so nothing mysterious happening here. It was nice to see the red lights of death kind of turn into white lights of happiness as Project Liftoff flipped the script on that fight. We're going to take a look at the replays here. As we can see early on, Project Liftoff was getting sent around the arena, Ironhide slowly approaching, roof-shotting them. Really strong early performance from Ironhide, able to control themselves, have the patience to get these big hits. They were bending that blade on Project Liftoff, which could have won them the fight in a KO if they could have gotten Liftoff upside down. They were unable to do it. Project Liftoff here gets stuck, uses their unstick, and as the count out is happening, is able to reset the robot, as he said, rearm the robot, get the lights to the right color, and after that point, Ironhide really didn't have much going for it. They went in for some hits, their weapon went down, and Project Liftoff ends the fight on a high note, but will it be enough to overcome the initial period of dominance from Ironhide and the fact that Project Liftoff needed to use their unstick? That is going to be tricky for the judges, but what a fight to watch.
What a fight indeed. Adam, do you think the first half of the match sticks with the judges as much as the second half?
That is always the trick, Sam. It's natural human instinct to kind of remember what you saw last the most.
Yeah.
But for a lot of that fight, Ironhide was dominant. But they're going to have a bad condition score at the end there, as they were barely able to move.
It seemed like their batteries were low or something.
Yeah, I don't know. It's kind of a little more crooked than they should be. Don't know what they were responsible for, but yeah, no weapon, slow drive, one wheel looked locked up. So that's going to hurt the condition, even if their attack score is higher from the initial portion of the match.
Well, we are just going to have to wait and see what the judges have to think about this one. But in the meantime, I believe we've got another fight about to load into Cage 2. This is Mrs. Buff and Iron Warrior. But first, let's peep into the pits a bit. Looks like I see Lars Elliott there working on his new 12-pounder Pyre.
We're still kind of at the peak of the pits. A few people have been knocked out of the tournament, but the vast majority are still here, still trying to make it to prime time, working on their robots. They're getting beat up. It's frantic in there as you're trying to put it back together, trying to stay calm as you're working on tiny screws and electronics. But it can be pretty hard to get your robot back together after some of these battles when you need to fight again. But we'll be whittling down in this KO show until we get to just 8 robots in each weight class for prime time tonight at 7 p.m. Eastern.
And before we whittle away one more in this match, we've got the judges' decision from the Project Liftoff fight, and Project Liftoff takes it.
Wow, I'm actually a bit surprised by that, Sam.
Well, you said it yourself. The second half of the fight is easier to remember.
That's true. And there was the damage, but a good fight, a close one. And congrats to Project Liftoff moving on. We'll see more of them in the Pro Tour in a couple weeks, but maybe they can take home another jumpster for themselves here tonight.
All right, Mrs. Buff, you can see their camera rig cage side. This is a semi-autonomous robot, about 80% autonomous, they say.
We have 2 robots here today with autonomous features. It's really interesting to see how far this has come. A lot of people have been trying to do these types of things, and we've seen maybe semi-autonomous weapon firing, but autonomous driving is really, really hard to get right. Getting your camera to accurately recognize your robot orientation and all that is very hard.
Do you think the external camera is the way to go for autonomous robots, Adam?
I think for sure it just gives you a better view of the arena. If you try to put it on the robot can only see a very small amount around it, and they're risking getting damaged.
True.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Fight, robots,
You
fight.
can see the red and blue colorway on this buff, helping camera rate, but they flip right down there right off the bat. Yeah, driving can only do so much if you lose the ground game on every interaction, because what's happening here is Iron Warrior is just completely dominant to open up this fight. Hit after hit, sending Mrs. Buff flying. There we go, Mrs. Buff returning fire, but the drive seems to be a little bit disabled. I don't know if the autonomous system is going to be able to drive with this crab walking style.
I'm seeing a lot of thumb movement on their transmitter regardless, so I'm not sure if they're fully autonomous in this instance.
I think
or
at
even
this
80%.
point they might be more manual. It might be an 80-20 the other way.
Yeah.
But whatever is happening, they're doing well in this fight as they're able to get Iron Warrior on their back. 2 minutes left in this fight, and Iron Warrior's not moving, Sam.
I see their wheels spinning. They must be high-centered on something, and it might be their bottom plate.
The ref is counting them out. Oh, they've called for an unstick. Interrupted the unstick, had to manually call for it. Brett is smashing them pretty good here. Doesn't seem to be getting them unstuck, Sam. I think you're correct. There must be something stuck. Mrs. Buff with an impressive performance there. Able to come back from a tough start. Take home the knockout victory after seeming to switch from autonomous to manual control. The robot was crab walking a bit, spent a lot of time upside down, but 1 minute in, they're able to flip their opponent upside down, do a little bit of damage to the bottom, get them high centered. You can see, yeah, right there, the base plate is high centering them. Maybe we'll be able to get a shot at that on the replay because their base plate was pulling the wheels off the ground. So some well-timed hits from Mrs. Buff there. Flipping the script on that fight, come from behind victory. Love to see it. And hopefully we'll see a bit more of that automation later today. But let's toss it cage side, I think. Oh, sorry, let's toss it to the booth to go over the replays, maybe get a closer look at that base plate.
Take a look right off the bat. Get Mrs. Buff with a kind of gentle exit from its starting corner and a big hit from Iron Warrior. From that point on, Mrs. Buff is doing a little bit better job keeping its front towards its opponent, but it's only when Iron Warrior is inverted that it's able to consistently approach at a speed where it can really make connections with its weapon. I think this is kind of where the AI control is able to work well enough to get a consistent amount of hits. You can see the peeling up, the tin can effect on the underside of Iron Warrior is what did that and ultimately caused them to be high-centered in the rear of their robot, causing the win for Mrs. Buff. Now, if we want to talk, get some excited fans
These
here.
are some great signs. Something Mrs. Buff said in their interview that the AI helped them sort of find the drive for hits where it would line up shots and assist their driving when they're going straight at them. But you could see it would like drive and then curve like it was trying to get bite but in the wrong spot. And it missed twice but then got that third hit. But anyway.
Yeah, it's hard to say for sure. I do want to note something kind of interesting about Mrs. Buff. You saw perhaps a minute ago, standing cage side, the drivers with a stereoscopic camera. So two big cameras in the same device mounted separately as if they're eyeballs to give that depth perception to the AI algorithm that's driving the robot. And I have to think that the bright red and blue coloring might not be the only reason it has that, but it helps a lot. It gives a very distinct left side, right side perspective to the camera. It's very bright, very evident. Even if you've got big pieces taken out of the robot, the control is still going to be able to recognize that's my left-hand side, that's my right-hand side, and be able to control it as such. I mean, can you imagine looking at a robot and you don't know whether driving right is going to be right or left because you don't have that kind of intrinsic knowledge? They're giving a leg up to their computer control by giving it that brightly colored paint job, essentially.
I hadn't even thought of that, and it's just another example of we want our decoration to also be practical.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's really wonderful when that form and function works together so seamlessly.
But enough about Mrs. Buff. We have Drumchild by Nate Franklin, known as son of Nate's dad. And we have Butterfly, the aforementioned one of the robots here today, from the team out of Shanghai. The team is actually a youth club from China, but I'm reading the builder sheet. I think this bot was assisted in the build by one of the first female combat robotics players, pilots in China, and the longest lasting promoter of combat robotics in China. And we talk about NHRL, and we talk about the adjacent events that are around here in the Northeast and a little farther in the Midwest and on the West Coast, but there's so many lovely international events that we don't get to talk about enough just because there's only so much time in the day. And there's other scenes worldwide, so it's always a treat when they're able to make it here.
Not just a treat to see them here, but a treat to see how they interact with a different kind of builder community and a different meta than they might be used to at home.
2, 1.
Fight.
Away we
Robots
go. Butterfly getting out of the corner at a reasonable speed, but immediately taking a hit from Drumchild.
Nice little spin move, accidental self-righting, I think.
Drumchild, as you might guess from the name, is all in on the drum. No forks, no plows, just a big drum spinning with a bunch of speed. At least it's supposed to be spinning. It's down now, rendering it nothing more than a pushing robot, at least at this point. We'll see if it can come back in a minute. I see the belt twitching on Drumchild, so it's probably a... There it is! There it is. It is
nice.
Back. Will they be able to deliver these good hits? They seem to be able to. There is something about Nate's driving and about the geometry of Drumchild that lets it get these good hits without the use of forks or ramps. However, if that weapon keeps going down like it is now, it's going to be hard for Nate to pull home a win.
Looks like he's doing a pretty good job of pushing Butterfly around. Butterfly looks like its drive might be locked up some.
Ooh, and now that weapon is askew on Butterfly. It's not sitting straight. And you can hear that kind of whiny noise. That is a very sad motor trying to overcome the fact that the shaft it's driving is no longer straight. Or perhaps no longer seated in a bearing.
We're halfway through this fight, and this is a really interesting position for both drivers to be in with low weapon functionality. One of Nate's bot doesn't have any forks.
Nate, though, is well known for years and years as a driver of push bots, non-kinetic bots. Mm-hmm. So in a way, this is his wheelhouse. This is his talent. He's dominating fights without an active weapon.
Even his non-push bots, he has the experience of having done this on
Take a look at Butterfly. It's up on the corner. They've called for an unstick. See if they can be set free.
The wheel guards are propping them up on the outer Lexan of the kick plates.
You know what they say about butterflies? You set them free, and if they come back to you, then maybe they were really yours all along.
I thought that was like everything.
It is everything, but I think butterflies coined... Oh, what a nail-biting moment! I thought they were done for, Dima.
Amazing job. Right back in it, too.
Now, they are having drive issues again. Their weapon is still down. They are in it, but it is going to be an uphill battle. We're coming down to the last 10 seconds. This will be going to a judge's decision. Nate is looking a little unsatisfied there. I wonder what he felt like he left on the table in that fight.
Yeah, I wonder what he's thinking right now, too. I would not want to be a judge for that one. I'm really curious as to how that goes. Some things to think about. Control, inversion, pushing. Weapon on Drumchild went down first, but it came back up every now and then. But they both ended with no weapon functionality.
It's potentially something good to keep in mind. Our judging criteria is going to reward you for attacks that cause harm. And harm doesn't necessarily mean destroying something on your opponent. It can mean leaving your opponent inverted. It can mean pushing them against the rails. It can mean all sorts of things that just basically equate to, is the opponent in a worse off position when your opponent backs off? And we saw that over and over again in that fight from Drumchild. Whether the weapon was working or not, in all of these exchanges, Drumchild would take a step back, and you could see that Butterfly was in a worse position than when they started the exchange. And that's going to make a big difference in how the judges rate this fight and who they pick for a winner.
Yeah, that's definitely the thing that matters. Is sometimes it's phrased as like who ended up where, but you got to think about the active participation in how that happens too. I feel like Butterfly, they're both attempting to be equally active, but I feel like Butterfly with its getting stuck moments and with the inversion, it just didn't have as many opportunities to do so as Drumchild did. But we'll see. I'm no judge.
We will see. And another thing we'll see is Carly. Carly, what do you got for us?
Elaine, Hey, I'm here with Elaine with the LBT youth team from China, and I wanted to know what's the difference between competing here at NHRL and competing in a league in China?
It's quite different. We don't have that many teams in China nowadays, and we don't have like such a professional arena like what you do here with all the schedules like well organized and with all this atmosphere and everything. But in China nowadays, we're trying to organize more events and trying to make this kind of sports that growing. So we're trying, but now it's more like a starting period. Yeah.
Well, that's great. Well, thank you for coming all the way to NHRL. We're happy to have you here.
Yeah, thank you. I'm happy that the kids are doing well here because all the kids from our youth club they design everything by themselves. And they've been traveling around the world and then try to learn different experiences and then see different things from different people. And I'm happy, like, as long as they can get into the fight and make the robots start moving, then I think it's a success.
I think so, too. Thank you, Elaine. We're going to go back to the booth with Dima and Ricky.
Thank you so much. It is so heartwarming to see young builders getting that sort of inspiration and guidance from experienced builders, not just in the United States, but all across the globe. And speaking of new builders, not all new builders are 6 and 7 years old. We've got a bunch of new builders here, and some of which are entering the cage right now. Let's go to Sam and Adam. Maybe they can tell us about not so new builders. Guys?
Yeah. Thank you, Ricky. We are looking to the Pro Tour. This is in 2 weeks, May 16th. And here are the 30-pound groups.
Yeah, the biggest weight class of all. We're starting off with Group J, and the best robot from last season, Kazad Light, starting off the group. Then we've got Dead Rise, Makabot, and Barbie. This could be the group of death of this tournament. This is an insane group here.
Yeah, Dead Rise, brutal. Makabot, brutal. Barbie, wild card. And Kazaa Light, the reigning world champion.
Yeah, Group K, Synthesis 30, Gord, Kazaa Ines, and Allen. We've got two different Kazaas in the 30-pound Pro Tour spring event. That is going to be crazy. Can you imagine Kazaa versus Kazaa if they both make it out of the group?
Oh, I could. And here's some of the matches that you are going to see. Any of these stick out to you, Adam?
Well, I think that any fight with Kazaa, it is going to be interesting, and they're in practically every single one here. But Kazaa Light versus Dead Rise and Kazaa Ines versus Synthesis 30 both stick out to me as potential epic fights that we're going to get millions of views of on the YouTube channel after we clip them out of the stream, is what I'm feeling.
I'm looking at Dead Rise versus Makabot. I want to see the big hits. And hopefully we'll see them in Group K here, where we've got Megatron, Overlord, Phenomenon, and Gargantuan. This is the big named robots.
The larger robots are in this one. A Megatron versus Gargantuan fight is going to be quite interesting because Megatron with their arm has the ability to hit the main chest.
Yeah, I think Overlord does as well with their extremely tall vertical spinner. It's Phenomenon who I'm worried about going up against Gargantuan.
Yeah, Phenomenon with their smaller vertical disc won't really be able to hit the chassis on Gargantuan, but Gargantuan's got to be thinking about, how did I get put in this group?
Well, I love the 30-pounders. These matchups are going to be awesome. I don't know, which Megatron versus Phenomenon sticks out to me. Megatron is one of Brandon's white whales, and I know he's hungry to finally beat him.
Yeah. All these fights are going to be excellent. I mean, just the best of the best 30-pounders here are going to be at the Spring Pro Tour event on May 16th in 2 weeks. So join us back here on the stream to check out all of these fights and more. What a day that's going to be.
Until now, we are going to Cage 1, and our play-by-play booth is going to call this match.
Thank you, Sam, and thank you for that hype for the Pro Tour. That will be some premium robot action, but I'm hoping we get some premium robot action in this fight right here. This is an interesting fight. Both of these robots, both of these robots, Tomahawk and Drobo, are both kind of old school designs. Aluminum construction, spinning blades that are a little bit smaller and narrower than we're usually used to.
We just don't see robots that look like this very often.
No,
anymore.
we don't. And right now it seems like Drobo has been disabled from only a few hits, giving a big win to Tomahawk. You can see Tomahawk took a beating earlier in the day. A huge gash has been ripped in the back of the robot. They were able to work around that, get it back together for this fight, take home a win, but boy, they are going to have their work cut out for them because this is the last, I call it beginner accessible fight of the day. Everything from here on out is going to be brutal. They're going to be headed up against Elijah Haga and Kratos next, or Kratos, excuse me. Kratos, and that will be a brutal matchup. So they're going to have to get up into the pits, do their absolute best to get this robot prepped, and then pray.
This is a stupid question. I have to check the stats page later. Have we had a fight between Kratos and Ares?
I believe
I feel like we have. Okay, cool. Just checking. Because if we didn't, I would have to just make sure that the bracket is rigged so that we do have that fight.
Understood. I'm sure it will happen again, at the very least.
I mean, if one of them hasn't been vanquished, I'm sure it'll happen again. Hello, good afternoon, robot fighting fans in the stands.
As we get closer and closer to our prime time show, the energy and the signs just keep getting better.
I love the signs. Thank you to everybody who brought a sign today or is making one with paper over in the lobby entrance. I love signs here. I grew up with pro wrestling, so it just makes me so happy inside.
All right, that door is getting relocked over at Cage 1, but not for a fight, just for good measure. We're going to spend a little time just getting the arenas ready before the next robots come out to play. And speaking of the next robots, I see someone walking in right now with their eyes on Cage 2.
Cage 2 now with a sort of iconic orange psychedelic burn mark over in the blue corner. It's really pretty. It's been swept up so much that it's now just like integrated with the floor plate.
And entering the arena now, we have Shockwave and Showtime. Shockwave in red, Showtime in green. That's feeling awfully Christmassy, wouldn't you say?
I'm the right girl to cast this fight. Christmas, my favorite holiday of all time. People are like, why do you love Christmas so much? I wish I could tell you.
Trees. Big fan of trees.
Big fan of pine trees. Big fan of getting and giving presents. I I love Christmas-style clothes. I love Christmas sweaters. I love winter. I love snow. I love Christmas lights. I love the food. I got to stop talking. I'll be here all day.
Yeah, it's a lot of love. What I love right now is this red mohawk look on the back of Shockwave. I'm really interested to see how this holds up against a opponent like Showtime. Showtime has a front plow that traditionally would do well against a curved surface like the back of Shockwave, but the back of Shockwave is spiky.
Yeah.
And that will traditionally do well against plows. So it could go either way. It's all going to be down to the particulars of the geometry in this fight.
And the forks themselves like protect the vulnerable part of the horizontal.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Fight, robots.
Away we go. Both robots spun up immediately, and wow! Shockwave. Whoa! And now Showtime's in front. Plow has just been ripped to shreds.
No more
Rip
plow
off.
against the horizontal.
These are pieces from every robot, every which way. Christmas confetti littering the arena. A wheel is missing from the side of Shockwave, and it don't care. The weapon's still spinning, roof shot after roof shot, and now Shockwave sits dead and disabled in the blue corner.
Calling for an unstick.
Begging for an unstick. But I don't know if it'll be enough. The unstick is over. Shockwave is moving just barely, and the weapon is still spinning.
It just doesn't have the movement that it needs to be able to control the fight.
Don't know if it has controlled movement, but it is moving.
From this point forward, any fight, any engagement from Shockwave to Showtime might be counted as lucky.
Yeah, but a lucky shot still counts if it does damage.
Well, that's exactly what we wanted to happen. Was Showtime was gonna attack the back, and then it started driving over the plow, and I was like, nope, not running into that spinning blade if I can avoid it.
Now take a look. The left wheel on Shockwave still running enough to orient the robot slightly, but not enough to move it to avoid a count out.
This is bad.
Now it's bad for Shockwave. It's great for Showtime. That is the knockout that Showtime was looking for. They're going to have a lot of repairs to do after this fight.
What a fight. When the wedge came off of Showtime, I was like, this is awesome. You don't have your armor against the horizontal. It's anybody's game now. But then the wheel came off. And I was like, that's not awesome for the horizontal, but the chaotic movement can still make some crazy impacts happen.
Check out this drone shot of the building.
Everybody in the stands, please wave to our awesome drone camera. Speaking from experience, these things are a lot harder to pilot than they look for those who've never driven one. If anybody's curious, I drove one exactly once in the test box because I might have had to fight Spitfire that day.
I think that this is piloted by our lovely staff member, Josh. I know he's an experienced drone pilot. And I know he jumps at any chance to fly around the building, being a menace to society.
I bet he could beat me at a drone race, but I still want to try. Nice boop.
Quick boop.
W boops. So the viewers at home can get a look at our foyer, our entrance, our lobby. A great place to hang out in between fights. There's some cages that we don't see on stream, cages 3 and 4. There's a second big cage for 12s and 30s right there. There's a VIP area for VIP ticket holders. And of course, snacks and drinks abound. And there's an outdoor food truck area, and I know all food trucks are not created equal, but you gotta trust these food trucks. They're some of the best tacos I've ever had in my entire life. We even have a coffee van indoors. Yeah, food trucks. Let me see.
I think Demon's hungry.
We even have that nice little shipping container area so you can eat your food truck food, and if it's raining...
Oh, loss of signal.
GG.
She's down.
Got some old school YouTube camera right there.
Let's go to Carly. Carly?
Hey, I'm here with Ben and Christian from Team WPI, and we've got Showtime. Now, guys, that was some carnage right from the top from both sides, but we've got some damage done to your own bot, even though you've won. What are you going to do to prepare to fix Showtime up?
Well, the wedge config, I can probably bend it mostly back into place. I think it'll be runnable again, but hopefully don't fight horizontals is the main game plan there.
That's a good plan, but I don't know if it's avoidable, right?
Yeah, it might be hard. I think I can at least fix it to usable state. I think, yeah, it can be usable again.
Amazing. Well, we're looking forward to this, and good luck getting some fixes done.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Getting ready in the small cage. I think we could all tell by that really cool, I don't know if I want to call it a hat or a wig. Whatever that thing on his head is, what do you think that means? I think it means there might be fire in this cage for our flame lovers out there.
Yep. We've got Gabriel there in his trademark Heat Miser headdress.
Clyde Miser.
Clyde Miser. Clyde has been terrifying today. This is a robot that has come to many an NHRL, but has had a huge upgrade to its flame system for this event. For those of you that might know, might not know, the flamethrower in Clyde is fan assisted. Look at all that tinfoil. I'm just going to stop what I'm saying. That is a monumental amount of tinfoil. In fact, it's so much tinfoil that the right-hand drive system is not working on this robot. I don't know if that has to do with the tinfoil or not, but the fact that they spent all this time on the tinfoil and the right-hand drive side's not working is not a good start.
Split decision. I believe this is Oliver's first time at NHRL, unless I'm wrong. Fighting out of New York, New York. The team Scrapyard Robotics.
We're going to do a quick power cycle on split decision. Sometimes the electronics just get a little confused when you first start up.
Here's a consequence of taping like an entire roll of flame tape on your robot is it can interfere with the signal from your transmitter to the receiver.
This is true. It essentially acts as a Faraday cage, which is a metal box that you put around a radio, and with a sufficiently good metal box, you get no radio signal penetration, and without any penetration, you get no radio connection. So we'll see if turning it off and turning it on again is enough to get those pixies to behave inside the electronics.
Oh, so
the best.
gremlins are the bad ones and pixies are the good ones. Okay, I get it.
Right, you got it.
Thank you.
Don't trust pixies outside of electronics. They need to be contained and enslaved within the electronic device to be trustworthy.
Okay, well...
It does look like that fixed it, though. Crack that whip.
Let's go.
Now, if we go back to Clyde, this is a fan-assisted flamethrower, and it is, I think, currently the hottest fire that we have here at NHRL. You see that big intake vent on the back of Clyde? They're going to use it to roast and toast the opponent.
Fight, robots, fight.
Away we go, and an immediate flame from Clyde. But split decision very effectively bullying Clyde around the arena until it didn't.
What a shots.
That is so much tinfoil being shorn from the body of split decision. If it was helping, it's not helping anymore. It is on fire. That is a good and proper fire.
Stuff is peeling.
None of those shapes are the shape they're supposed to be anymore, Dima. None of that plastic is plastic. It's just cancer.
I am not surprised at that tap out.
That is nuts. That is the quickest tap out I think we've ever had from fire-based destruction. A stunning display from Clyde. They sailed through that match. Take a look at the negative pressure system pulling all of that smoke, fire, and fire extinguisher gas from the arena almost instantly. 5,000 CFM worth going through a series of ducts, flame arresters, and everything else to get it safely out of the arena. Tell you who wasn't safely out of the arena, split decision.
That box rush, and they both lock horns, that could have been so good for split decision if not for that front guard not a wedge, but it sits on the top of the robot so that it prevents the hammer saw from split decision from reaching over and puncturing that very crucial fuel tank. Oh, but that first engage was kind of all it took. Once split decision started burning after that box rush, they didn't stop burning until the tap out.
Now that robot seemed to be especially flammable, basically made out of kindling, and once it ignited, that's all it took. It was a chain reaction. The functionality dropped off. The more the functionality drops off, the more that you get barbecued, and pretty soon you're nothing more than embers on the arena floor.
The snowball effect, they call it in sports and esports. The flywheel effect, they call it in business. Once things start moving, they do not stop moving in that direction.
You know, given the amount of flamethrowers that are showing this kind of behavior, I think we need the inverse snowball effect. Snowball feels completely inappropriate for fireball. We could call it the fireball effect, but I think we can do better. If you've got ideas at home, throw them in the chat, throw them on YouTube, send us some feedback online. We'd love to hear it. And, you know, that's a great moment to just thank you for joining us here at NHRL. We've been having a grand old time at the 4th qualifying event of our open season. We're going to go to Carly for more.
All right, I'm here with Gabe and Alex, and that was a barbecue. You turned them into a Jiffy Pop. Did you have a plan when you knew what their material was of how to go about this fight, or was this just going at it?
Really, our plan was based on their type of robot. Recently we got exploded by Usagi, a hammer saw, and we thought a lot about how we would fight a hammer saw the next time. So we created this interceptor configuration with this panel here to try to stop any arms that were coming down on top of us. And the other big difference since our Usagi fight is we've really upgraded our fire system. We've got a much better fan, we've got much higher fuel flow, so we're really bringing the heat this competition.
And it's also our mom's birthday, so we're lighting all the robots on fire like candles for her.
Happy birthday, Mom.
Happy birthday, Mom. We also want to know, do you have a different strategy for every bot? It sounds like it.
Yeah, we've got quite a few different configurations. Everybody you're going up against, you're going to interact with their weapon a little bit differently. And us being able to pin and control our opponent is really critical to our strategy. If we're getting thrown in the air, we're going to explode. So it's important that we pick the right front-end geometry for whoever it is we're fighting.
Awesome. Well, great fight. Good luck moving forward. And we're going to throw it back to the booth with Dima and Ricky.
Thank you, Carly. We are still scooping up some burned debris on the floor of Cage 2. But we're getting ready for some fights, some more 3-pound fights to decide who's making it into prime time at 7 o'clock Eastern.
Yeah, we are rapidly coming up on that. And look, it appears to be Project Liftoff and Anubis in Cage 2.
These are 2 robots that you're going to see in Pro Tour in 2 weeks from now.
Yeah, these are 2 robots that are here not just to practice, but to feel out their opponents. So it's not just more experience. This is specifically a fight that could help them understand who they're going to be up against in the next event. That is such a critical edge that not all of the Pro Tour folks are going to have when they get there. To not just be able to say, I've fought a bunch of fights, I know this kind of robot, I've reviewed the footage, but to say, hey, 2 weeks ago, I fought this exact robot, and now I've got a strategy in mind, that could be a big deal.
This is a really interesting fight. Both these robots are pretty well seated today. I have some stats on my end. I'm not sure I believe in them, though. Projected winner, I'm not going to say who, but they are 11% above the other. But regardless, there's a 63% chance that this fight ends in a knockout, and I believe that stat for certain. Anubis is so cool, man. That, like, spine ribcage armor on the back, the purple light in the middle of it. Sneakily a JoJo reference. Maybe the only one, unless we count Weather Report, which I don't.
Is that a confirmed reference or just supposed?
I think it's confirmed, kind of. Like, it's half of it, the other half being, you know, the god. I'll ask him. I'll ask him later.
You can see Jim Kasmer, the driver for Project Liftoff, what's the word I'm looking for? Trailblazer in the sport here, has been doing incredible work for years in the space of melty brain robots. For those not deeply aware, melty brain robots, the entire robot is the weapon, and they hit hard.
1.
Fight, robots.
There we go, a fantastically fast spin up from Project Liftoff, with Anubis and Project Liftoff going flying in the first exchange.
Anubis is one of those verts that is so fast, it almost works against him. We'll see if that matters here.
Anubis losing that interaction relatively extremely. Good. Bouncing off into the corner of the arena. Now trying to line up a hit on Project Liftoff. And lifting itself end over end.
That's a good hit.
Yeah, that frisbeed hard. And again, a couple of walls hit by Project Liftoff. Anubis is starting to figure out its stride here. The key for a four-wheel drive spinner heading off against a robot like Project Liftoff is committed hits. Really going in just full throttle, trying to hit as hard as you can and send your opponent into the walls. And then chaining those hits over and over so that they hit walls like they just did. The arena itself is going to be what does most of the damage to a robot like Project Liftoff. Anubis struggling to get stable as it rights itself and delivers another small hit to Project Liftoff, then a bigger hit, then a second bigger hit.
These hits where they land sort of sideways on the wall for a split second, that really matters. Has less time to spin up.
Anubis is getting the hang of chaining these hits together, and Project Liftoff has no answer.
Anubis is kind of showing how to beat this robot that sometimes looks unbeatable, unapproachable, doing a great job of approaching it. Let's see if you can do the other thing.
Ooh, a big hockey puck moment against Project Liftoff. And again, look at the arena walls bounce and shake, and a camera has gone down. Project Liftoff destroying a camera with that last hit.
Project Liftoff retaliating with an angry screech. Nice driving, Anthony.
This is an incredible mixture of careful driving and concentrated aggression on display from Anubis here today. Oh, and then Anubis pausing. I don't know if the driver was getting their bearings, Anthony Pereira, or if something went wrong there for a moment.
I think he's doing a great job. I wish he was even a little more aggressive. Hard to say though, because he's the one scoring all these engages.
We are down in the last 10 seconds. This will be going to the judges, but what a moment to leave the judges with. I'll remind our viewers, the judges tend to favor moments where your opponent has been left in a saved by the bell situation. Now, we didn't see that here, but it was about as close to that as you can possibly get.
Absolutely. I was wondering for a split second in my mind, are they going to have to call for an unstick?
Take a look at the prove it period here. This is the opportunity for both robots to show off their functionality for the judges before the judges make their decision. It looked to me, Dima, you correct me if I'm wrong, but it looked to me like both of these robots were essentially unharmed throughout that exchange.
I think so. There were a couple moments where Anubis was trying to get a head-on hit, and it looked more glancing, and I was wincing, thinking, I don't want anything to get sniped by a horizontal glancing hit, but it looked like he avoided that. I don't know how much of that is luck and how much of that is extremely skilled driving. Again, kudos. Project Liftoff is very, very difficult to drive against. Requires a lot of focus, a lot of strategy, decent amount of experience knowing how to control your own robot, and handling chaos and scrambles. That's the biggest factor. Kasmer, come on, be careful with that weapon lock. Kasmer says he's bad at self-promotion. I think Project Liftoff is doing it for him. Let's see some replays.
Go right into him here. you can see so many air hockey moments for Project Liftoff. This robot hits hard, but it's very difficult to show off a semblance of control in these matches, and Anubis took full advantage of this throughout the fight.
Anubis is, as scary as the name implies, god of judgment in the afterlife, trying to send Casimir there. You can see he's trying to hit, like you said, chaining hits together. He's trying to hit him, and then before Project Liftoff can spin up again, get another hit. And it looks like he got a good amount of those in this fight, but also a lot of situations like this where Project Liftoff does get the opportunity to spin back up, but you still have no other choice but to go in and take the hit.
Well, I gotta say, both of those competitors look darn professional in that event. Sorry, in that match. Sam and Adam are gonna tell us more about some professional robot builders right now.
Sure are, Ricky. We are looking at the Pro Tour groups. Pro Tour is in 2 weeks on May 16th, and here is Group F in the 12-pounders.
Yeah, we've got Buzzkill, Torrent, Grim Ripper, and Blue Cheese. Grim Ripper is one of my favorite robots to watch in both weight classes that it fights in. Just such a classic looking robot, little upside down, like dome shape. And it's so surprisingly performant in the modern robot age.
Yeah, and let's take a look now at Group G here, where we've got RoboCat. That's a lot of TPU. Grandeur and Synthesis 12. The robots that stand out in these, I'd say that's a lot of TPU. There's not many lifters in the 12-pound class.
They always stand out. I mean, their size alone makes them stand out. And I like the 12-pound class particularly because we see combinations of build styles. Yeah. In the 3-pound, you're going to see a lot of TPU. In the 30-pounders, significantly less so and more metal. In the 12-pound, you're going to see both styles competing against each other. That's a lot of TPU, really holding the torch for the plastic 3-pound robots in the 12-pound class.
And here are some of the matchups you guys have to look forward to. Any of them stand out, Adam?
Torrent versus Grim Ripper, I think is going to be a fun one. Grim Ripper is just a weird shape to get a hit on.
I like RoboCat versus Grandeur. I know RoboCat has a big wheel config up their sleeve, and I know Grandeur has a update for the big wheel configs, so I can't wait to see how that meta evolves.
Battle of the configs, when the config takes on the anti-config config, is always fun. A lot to look forward to on May 16th, just 2 short weeks away for our first ever Spring Pro Tour event here in Norwalk, Connecticut at the House of Havoc. But in the meantime, we're going to drop it off to Cage 2, and we're going to call this one. And it looks like we've got some fun robots loading in. I'm seeing an overhead saw.
Yeah, I think that based on that color, Adam, that is Sting Operation. And we will see Mark Young and Sting Operation in 2 weeks at Pro Tour. And today, right now, they are going up against the semi-autonomous robot, Miss Buff.
Mrs. Puff looked really good in their last fight, using the autonomous capability and then the backup manual capability to take home a knockout victory after a slow start. But Sting Operation is going to try and make sure that doesn't happen here.
Sting Operation has become one of the gnarliest hammer saw robots in the 3-pound class, undoubtedly taking the last 5 G-Stroll events in Jersey, and here we go.
1. Fight, robots, fight.
Wow, Sting Operation going flying out of the gate. Not how they want to start this fight. But Mrs. Buff upside down takes a hit.
This is Mark Young's opportunity, and right into Mrs. Buff.
Right in front of the Mrs. Buff team, right through the misses on top of Mrs. Buff. These 2 robots are stuck together.
He's really in there, Adam.
Brett trying to get them apart. We might need to use the technical crowbar here.
All right, transmitters going down. This cage door is getting opened. The high-tech safety crowbar is getting deployed, as well as the emergency robot unsticking tongs of unsticking.
We try a lot of tools here at NHRL, and sometimes the simple things work best. Yeah, I wonder, Sam, looking at these robots, do you think the bright color of Sting Operation could be affecting the camera system here on Mrs. Buff? I mean, it's so neon.
I don't know. I bet it's tuned to see the colors of their robot and whatever sort of movement that isn't their robot. Tough to say.
Look at that gash.
It's like a 3-inch gash in there.
It's just Buff now.
All right,
The missus is gone.
Resume this match from this position. On my mark. Drivers, are you ready? Great. We will resume in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Resume.
Another attempted hit there right off the pin from the restart.
Looks like the
will they
counterweight side of the
can
blade
they
went in
even
this
get
time.
out? Are they just still stuck together? So if they're stuck together here, then we would end up going to a judge's decision.
I don't know, Adam. I just took a sneak peek real close. It does not look like the blade of Sting Operation is lodged in the top of Mrs. Buff. Maybe there's something going on with the forks. No one's wheels are touching the ground, but...
Yeah, it definitely looked like Mrs. Buff's wheels were not touching the ground. I could see some spinning, but the question here is Sting Operation, are they able to move? I think we're going to be able to get them separated here with the house. Oh, no, the house robot is stuck. Wow, so unable to get them unstuck. Just got everything a little bit more stuck there in the attempt. But that was a weird one, Sam, because Sting Operation had a great hit at the beginning there to require that first unstick. But at the end, in the second one, they really didn't spin up, really didn't get much damage, couldn't move. But I could see Mrs. Buff attempting to move. You think that's going to play into the judge's decision here?
I hope so.
Ricky
it's
Dima,
really tough to
what do you
say.
think here watching that from the booth? How did you see it?
So this is really interesting. We'll have to have an interview later on our side to see with the referees what happened there. Generally, we do not send a fight to the judges for two entanglements if they happen for different reasons. And it appeared to me that one of the entanglements was from an overhead hit getting stuck, and one of them was from forks getting stuck within each other. So that is something we're going to have to review later, the two of these robots getting stuck together for different reasons.
It's interesting because they got stuck so quickly and in exactly the same spot and in exactly the same orientation.
Exactly, but potentially for different reasons. So
Yeah.
that's a distinction that should matter, but then we had a situation with the housebot getting involved and that getting stuck. Plus we had two robots that were potentially not working. I think, Dima, you noticed something interesting going on there?
Yeah, once Sting Operations blade was out of Mrs. Buff, Mrs. Buff was attempting to spin their wheels and their weapon, but I couldn't see any of the sort from Mark. I didn't see the weapon moving or the wheels moving, but I didn't know if that was just because things weren't touching the ground. I don't know.
I'm hearing cage side that Sting Operation was inoperable at the end of that match as they were taking them apart. It did not work.
That's what I thought. So what looked like an entanglement might have just been total loss of function.
It is worth saying that if something does go to the judges, for regardless of the reason, the judge's decision still stands. So the idea is that if a match gets paused momentarily, the judges are still going to be able to figure out what the rightful winner of that fight is going to be. So it's not like it's problematic from a fairness perspective as far as the builders are concerned. But, maybe I'm a little biased, but I love to see fights play out all the way. So we'll definitely review that and take a look at it. In any case, I'm sure we'll have a good idea of who won the fight here in just a few minutes when the judges get back to us.
Back to the big cage, though. We are back with Benny and Nightcrawler. Love these little Art Deco wheel guards on Nightcrawler here. Really condensed design, especially for 12 pounds. Two-wheel drive and a beater. What else do you need? Gotta have a name for this kind of matchup. The Classic, maybe? Benny is four-wheel drive, though, so it's not totally a mirror match.
Five, four, three, two, one.
Fight, robots, fight.
And we're off. Benny Arjun stalking its prey. Nightcrawler end over end. What a hit into the air.
We front flip him.
Oh, and another big hit on the back of Nightcrawler. Nightcrawler's been at this for years. You don't see them bullied like this every day.
Cornell crowd going nuts for Benny. Nightcrawler's not out of this. It looks like they're mostly still equally functional.
I don't know. Benny Arjun has now thrown a belt on its left-hand side, and its drive on the left is barely functioning.
Let's see if Nightcrawler can make use of that, get to the side and get some...
So far, they're not able to make any use at all. Oh, and the wheel has been ejected.
They got three more. It's fine. It's chill.
Oh, no, they're down 2 wheels now on that side. It's just the one remaining.
Okay, so now we are equal on wheels.
Wow, what a hit. That was a big impact. And the cage is suddenly very, very quiet. Look at the forks just laying, ripped off of Benny Arjun. And Benny Arjun now in the arena corner on the rails. It does have an unstick left, but will it be able to free itself? Oh, and I misspoke earlier. Benny Arjun does have 3 of its 4 wheels remaining, and they do seem to all be working.
But the beater looks like a broken bone just snapped off right at the hinge and with a naked motor. This unstick is gonna maybe be completed without Benny able to.
Look at the weapon destruction on Benny Arjun. A fist-sized chunk, 2 fist-sized chunks of steel have been obliterated from the middle of that spinning egg beater weapon.
I've never seen a beater get destroyed like that. I've seen one get cracked in half or get a chunk ripped out. But this one's like missing.
The fact that both ends are still there and the middle is just missing is ridiculous. And somehow the pieces are still spinning on Benny Arjun. Nightcrawler just going end over end every time it tries to attack. We will be headed to the judges here in just a few seconds. This is a hard fight to call. The destruction all in the favor of Nightcrawler, but the control in that match and the attack that we saw over the course of the match, frankly, I would give that to Benny Arjun.
Well, I am not a judge, and I will not claim to be one, but I have a personal belief on who won that fight. And it is the one that looks less like a corpse, to me. Control and aggression is really important, though, and Benny really was in control from, I think, the majority of the fight. I'd have to watch that with the timer. Replay is coming. Maybe we'll get a better idea how this is going to be scored in the judges. We see that this first impact, they sort of jousted past each other, but then Benny got a hit and made Nightcrawler front flip all over the place.
And I didn't notice that the first time around, but Nightcrawler kind of paused. They were staggered after that first hit.
Stunned, if you will.
Yeah, and I wonder, did things go wrong in a way that made Nightcrawler harder to drive in this match? Did damage that we didn't quite tell make it harder for them to deliver effective hits? Because that would explain why a veteran competitor like Nightcrawler was so, hampered in its ability to attack its opponent.
Yeah, when a robot has this super condensed design like this with everything hidden in the middle with the wheel guards and everything is inlaid, you can't really tell if damage is affecting things in a certain way. Man, this is a great fight. Great fight for Benny. I'm happy that hello, Cornell kids. Nice to see you guys again. I love that sign. I think it says every step Benny takes is forward.
Anybody in there?
All right, we are clearing the stands and backing up. And do you know why that is, Ricky?
I unfortunately do know why that is. In order to be compliant in the state of Connecticut with state and local fire ordinance laws, we are required to keep a minimum distance between our spectators and between any pyrotechnic displays. Those pyrotechnic displays are about to enter the arena in the form of Limewire and Pyre.
Pyre has sort of the more fiery name, implies something is going to get burned, but it might also imply that it is the thing that's going to get burned.
Yeah, usually the word that precedes Pyre is funeral.
Yeah.
So we'll see if they can avoid that fate today.
Everybody got a death drive. Limewire, I said this before, just such a cool naming convention between Kazaa and Limewire, these old school file sharing websites.
While we have a moment, since there may be folks just joining us here at NHRL, let's talk about the basics of what you're looking at in matches. We have 3 weight classes here, 3, 12, and the big boys, the 30-pounders. We've got 3-minute fights where your objective is to destroy your opponent's robot. A fight can end either by a tap out, a knockout, or it can go the full 3 minutes and get sent for a judge's decision. Each robot also gets an unstick from our house bot during a fight. This is not a guarantee, but it's an attempt by a house bot to free a robot that gets stuck so they can resume fighting. At the end of the day, the top 8 robots qualify for prime time, and we also send a group of robots off to the Pro Tour.
So the judges' criteria for when fights do go the distance without a KO, there are 2 I say categories. There's attack and condition. Attack is worth 5 points and condition is worth 6 points. Attack represents harming your opponent, and it's sort of rolled in with the concept of you want to be the aggressor in these fights. The judges want to see that you are the one attacking the most and engaging the most. And condition represents the damage that you have taken or inflicted. Condition being armor got removed from my robot, or my weapon got smashed and destroyed and isn't working, or a wheel got taken off. Those things count for you and your opponent's condition score. There are 3 judges, and the highest score from 2 judges wins the fight. So it's not a matter of cumulative points. If 2 judges out of the 3 decide that you win the fight, you have. A couple other small details too is that for 12 and 30s, they share a bigger cage, and the 3-pound robots have a smaller cage that they fight in. But Sam and Adam, I think, are going to call this fight. Sam, Adam?
Yeah, I'm excited to get close enough to feel the heat on this fight.
Yeah, we are up close and personal cage side for this firefight. Limewire, the smaller sort of sibling of the Kazaa series of robots, going up against Pyre here, the nasty little vertical spinner.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Fight, robots, fight.
Pyre is the first 12-pound entry from Lars, and he's doing Lars things.
Looking good here. No flames. There we go. Can feel the heat radiating off of that, but it's not really pointed where it needs to be.
The drive on Pyre is swift. He is able to hit the broadsides of Limewire.
Limewire's got some dents in the top of it, too, from those early engagements. Wow! There's shrapnel flying around the inside of the box, pinging off the walls after these hits. And the flame's still not pointing the right way. Limewire really needs to get underneath, get a pin, and bring these flames to bear. Otherwise, they are not going to last long. They aren't moving at all, Sam.
Pyre has been so precise with that lifter on top of that spinning blade. Is there anything left in Limewire? Yes.
Oh, they just start moving. There is a glow coming from inside of Limewire. Pieces falling all over the place.
It looks like they've lost tensioners on either side of their drivetrain for Limewire. I saw some very loose chains.
Oh,
in
here
there.
we go, Sam. Limewire finally able to point the flames in the right direction, and they're not working. A little bit there. Is this going to be enough? The count is over. I don't think that's enough heat. The drive is starting to die on Limewire.
Pyre is slowing down as well.
Both robots slowing down. Limewire can't overcome the air blowing off of the weapon on Pyre. Just kind of blowing the flames out there.
The Forge on Limewire are doing a great job of keeping the nasty bits of Pyre away, though.
Yeah, you can see Limewire able to kind of point the flame to the side of the weapon, get a little bit of fire to come out when it was perfectly lined up, just couldn't overcome the wind. Oh!
There's a wheel on the ground, and it belonged to Limewire.
Yeah, Limewire's really on the back foot here. Tremendous driving the entire match by Pyre.
Pyre is really slowing down drive-wise, though. The weapon, the lifter, is not as snappy as it was at the start of the match.
Yeah, we've got 30 seconds left. Are both these robots going to make it, or are we going to get a knockout here as they're slowing down? The base plate is entirely disconnected from the frame on Limewire. One more hit could bifurcate Limewire.
Oh, the blade is so close to Limewire, but
the
just
fork
not
is
there.
just quite intertwined here.
Lars keeping Pyre at full bore on that weapon speed.
Yeah, you can see here that little keep-away prong on Limewire is stuck inside the lifter on Pyre. That's the fight. Able to get out. Wow, I think Limewire really cut that close. They were just about to break in two. Pyre, tremendous driving early, and somehow Limewire overcomes the difficulty in their drive system to win the latter stages of that fight.
But look at Pyre in the prove-it period. Not a lot of proving going on.
Yeah, neither robot moving well, but certainly better movement from Limewire. But you can see the chassis is just destroyed, barely connected. A wheel laying across the arena, shrapnel from its forks. Condition score is going to be pretty close, I would think.
Yeah, this is going to be a tough one for our judges. So let's peep the replays real quick, see what we've got.
Yeah, out of the gate, both robots pretty strong, but then circling around the initial engagements, and they're sending Limewire flying through the early stages of this fight.
Pyre was just so swift at the start of the match that the slowness from them at the end was really stark.
It was really incredible. I mean, early on, we saw a lot of flame from Limewire, but they were unable to bring it to bear until the end of the fight. When their drive wasn't working, the flames weren't quite as strong anymore. You can see some great pushing here as Pyre was slowing down towards the end, and the attack, the control started drifting into Limewire's favor. You saw Pyre trying to use their lifter more in the latter stages of the fight as they were having a harder time delivering that weapon. Still getting a nice flip there after the wheel fell off. How much I wanted to see one last big hit there at the end just to separate the parts of Limewire. That will be a fun one for the judges to contend with. Now I'm seeing the door is being reclosed. The robots are still in the arena here.
Yeah, I don't know. Pyre's moving now.
Yeah, Pyre's moving great now. You know what that actually could signal is a little bit of heat damage there. You know, your components heat up and they don't like to work as good.
So all these robots are using motors to drive their robots around?
Yeah, no internal combustion drivetrains here, so it's electric motors with electric speed controllers that tell them how fast to go, hooked up to a receiver that is getting signals from your transmitter, and then a battery. None of that stuff really likes to get too hot.
No, not at all. From the magnets in the motors to the wires that are connecting everything. It likes to stay at a lovely room temperature.
Yeah, even the mechanicals, when they get hot, can start kind of becoming oversized. That can cause two things. One, stuff can get loose, which can be a problem. The other is it can jam up, and that can be another problem. So many different things from the heat could have caused it to slow down. But I think seeing Pyre drive away there at the end really does show that I think it was slowing down from the heat cumulative effects there at the end of the fight, which is interesting.
Do you think there could be lasting damage from the flames in the form of demagnetization?
Certainly could happen. The magnets can be permanently damaged from getting too hot. That's a problem you can have just from running your motor too hot normally, and it's a problem from extreme environments.
Yeah. All right, we are going to send it over to Carly, who is cage side. Carly, what you got?
Yes, I'm here with Joshua, who drives Limewire, and I am curious, did this match go the way you expected it to go?
Not really. We had just re-welded on our wheels because one came off the last match, and now the screws failed. So that was why we lost the wheel, and we're having a lot of mobility issues. And also, somehow the receiver was out of the robot for the last minute of the fight. So I'm just amazed we went to time. Lars is an amazing driver, and he definitely showed his driving prowess. So I think they took it, but I guess we'll see.
Great, thank you, Joshua. We're gonna go to the booth with Dima and Ricky again.
Thank you so much. We're going to get ready for another fight here in just a moment. You can see us just sprucing up cage 1 for you, making sure it is in prime shape for another fight.
I love the war damage on the arena, and this part of the day, we're getting far into KO show. We're before prime time. I love seeing battle damage on robots. I love seeing battle damage in the gladiator arena.
It is just about at peak battle damage right now. I mean, granted, we have some interesting things happen in the later part of the day in prime time, but that moment before we swap out floors and things really start getting chewed up, it makes for a really interesting dynamic for the robots that have to fight in these conditions. You've seen AI robots today, you've seen human-powered drivers today. All of them have to navigate this unpredictable arena floor. It is the difference between working in a assembly line, sterile room environment and a real unpredictable world that puts such a challenge not just on the robots themselves mechanically, but either on the human drivers or on the AI control mechanisms that are controlling these robots.
I think it's one of those little things that adds up, and it's the difference between a good driver and a great driver. A really great driver can be aware of those tiny divots in the floor and avoid them. If possible, be aware of when your opponent is going to skirt over them. And we'll see if either of these robots, we'll see if it's a factor in this fight between Blue Marlin and Luna. Luna, we saw beat my brother, which I'm not happy about. I don't like it.
Check that bias, Steve. Check that bias.
The bot's really cool. But I'm also a big fan of Blue Marlin, driven by Bob Balanson, who sometimes we call Bob Marlin. The same way that we sort of use last names. We use fake last names that are just the bot names, like how we call him Jake Maximizer.
Yeah, it absolutely happens.
Julian Mako. Dima Turbo Fiend.
5.
Ooh, I like that last one.
4, 3.
Let's see how this
2,
fight goes.
1.
Fight, robots,
and
fight.
We are off. Blue Marlin coming out swinging, but inverting itself very quickly. No sweat. It's able to fix that immediately.
This is some fancy gyro footwork.
Yeah, these two are dancing around each other, but then Blue Marlin taking a big hit, and I see a belt missing already.
Wow.
And a quick tap.
Whoa.
Wow,
fast.
Luna said no more, thank you.
It's my bad for blinking.
Wow, that really was a blink if you miss it kind of exchange. But you start getting those comboed attacks, those chains of big damaging hits, and it can be over faster than you can wink an eye.
All smiles. Of course, we heard one of the NHRL iconic chants, "Feed the fish."
Blue Marlin progressing into the quarterfinals. We're going to find out very soon who they're going to be facing. That's going to be a fight between Michael and FTP. But let's go to the replay. This replay is going to be the entire fight. Luna's able to get a couple of glancing blows, and Marlin flips itself over a couple of times from both gyro and just honestly a bad exchange there. But it didn't matter. They started to chain a couple more hits. Pieces went flying off of Luna and an immediate tap out. I think once that weapon belt was down, once they started to lose a little bit of drive, it was a close match. It was always going to be a close match. And once you start losing huge portions of your robot, you know you're not going to be able to work your way back.
Mm-hmm. I also think with a really wide vert like Blue Marlin, you walk into the cage and you think, okay, I'm afraid of the control, I'm afraid of getting corralled onto the kick plates, but those weapons seem to equal strength. And when it comes down to like weapon geometry matchup, it looked just squarely in Bob's favor.
Well, I think we are going to be able to go cage side with Carly. Carly?
Yeah, I'm here with Connor from WPI, and we're driving Luna, and I'm curious, why did you tap out so early?
As soon as I saw my belt come off, he hit right through my pulley guard, into that pulley right there. I knew it was pretty much over. I wanted to save the robot. It makes it a little bit easier for the next event. There wasn't really a chance of me winning that fight after that, so.
Cool. Will that take you a long time to fix, or did this tapping out early save it?
No, it shouldn't take too long. I have different assemblies of these, but I didn't want to take too much damage to the rest of the robot. You can see, just immediately after that, he's got a wheel. This one he got as well. This was from an earlier fight, but just avoid taking as much damage as possible.
You got it. That sounds good to me. Well, thank you. We're going to go back to Dima and Ricky in the booth.
Thank you, Carly. Those college kids are always budget conscious, and maybe that early tap out maybe means he can have some normal meals for the next month instead of just ramen noodles.
Possibly. I am still astounded at the robots that college aid folks are able to bring, and I'll tell you who else loves it, our wonderful fans. They are hyped. I know we've been talking all day about who, Dima?
Sorry, I was distracted exclusively by figuring
You just
out
love
how-
a good sign,
I was
Dima.
genuinely figuring out how to pronounce Yormi? I think it's Yormi.
You know what? Good on you for trying. We're going to go right back to cage one. We've got Psycho and Mini Blender. Mini Blender is a fun take on overhead bar, kind of somewhere between an overhead bar and a shell spinner.
I think the name is pretty self-explanatory to what it wants to do, what it aims to do.
Well, it's interesting, right? Blender is a famous robot from the olden days of robot combat. Mini Blender is still a big spinning robot, but I don't know if it's directly inspired in the same kind of way. You can see this shell, the entire shell spins around and can do some major
4,
damage.
3, 2, 1.
Fight, robots, fight.
Well, good spin up from Mini Blender. Wow! Sent skyward an immediate fire. Smoke pouring into the arena. That is a burst lipo battery.
I want to see in the replay what that tap out looked like, how fast you were able to get to that button, because you saw smoke, I saw smoke, and then the arena was red.
Yeah, that looked to me like race car reaction speeds there.
I mean, reaction speed...
race car reflexes.
Reaction speed matters so much for the fight itself, but I guess it also matters for saving your robot, which we just went over in that interview.
It's not the way you would usually use that particular skill set. We're going to let that robot vent smoke for a little while, let that smoke clear from the arena, let the extraction fans do their job to make sure the audiences stay safe. And in the meantime, you get to watch a little bit of a barbecue.
Can someone tell Mini Blender that, Jameson Go, the class act of all time.
This is Psycho on the loose. I love it.
I did see that sign before the fight started. It was made me smile real big. Did somebody tell Mini Blender that 420 was 2 weeks ago?
They're making up for lost time, apparently.
Speed it up, folks. Meanwhile,
you can see, look at this, the right half of the screen. See that kind of quick wafting action? That is the smoke evacuation system just pulling everything upward towards the extraction fan on the roof. Now let's go to replays and we can see how this all happened. You can get that reaction speed judgment you were asking about earlier, Dima. That's it. That one hit, that is it.
one-hit KOs, they're not a rarity, but oh my goodness, rarely are they this dramatic. Yeah, exactly.
Now, I can't get a good view. I don't know if we can freeze frame it, but the underside of that robot didn't appear pierced. So what must have happened is that battery either tore itself apart from the sheer force of being hit so hard, or something smacked into something else, violently inside the robot. The other potential option here, it's such a big electrical shock to the inside of the robot that the battery overheats instantly, it short circuits, and it lights itself on fire. Any one of these is possible, and it's going to require a very inventive autopsy with a lot of rubber gloves to safely figure out exactly what happened.
I'm not supposed to enjoy carcinogens like this, but the smoke that comes out of a lipo like this is so cool. The fact that we have these arena vents that pull the smoke upward make it so you can see it all sort of billow out, and it doesn't like just turn into a cloud. Like we can actually see it erupting cell by cell.
Take a look at that discoloration. You see that orange-brown?
Yeah.
That's a combination of, we'll call it caramelized lipo battery fumes that are accumulating, but you can also see there's heat discoloration on that panel. Those batteries have gotten so hot that the metal has started to turn a shade of color, just like if you, try to temper a blade in a forge. That is a wild amount of heat and a lot of energy. It does look like the smoke is cooling down, so we're going to be able to have our safety staff extract that from the arena relatively soon.
You can even see on the upper vents, it's less so now, but like for a couple minutes there, the smoke itself was like brown and darker, so they weren't all burning at the same heat.
Yeah, we'll see. Let's go to Carly. She's cage side, I believe, with Jameson. Go.
Hey guys, I am here with Jameson Go, and I gotta say, that was the first time for me. Was this the first one-hit KO you've ever had? Has this happened before?
Honestly, I can't remember, but I don't think I've ever had one like that before. We were talking about it before the fight. If the shell came off, they were going to tap out. So I was kind of waiting to see how it landed, if everything's looking okay. But when the smoke poured out and they went for the button, I said, all right, hands off,
Cool, well, your instincts were right, I think. And we just wanted to comment on this shirt. I just hope both teams have fun, and I think that is the message here at NHRL, right? We love it.
I had fun. I had fun.
Great, we had fun too. I think the audience had fun as well. Yeah. Awesome, thank you, Jameson. We're going back to the booth. Thank you.
Some amazing bravery from our cage managers. I know they have all this protective gear, but they are just walking up to it's not just a machine. It's one thing if it was like, oh, this is an engine that I'm aware of. Like, this is a hand-built sort of thing.
It's true. It's true. But we are going to head over to Adam right now. He's going to disassemble this fight.
So, I have a little bit of experience getting my shell spinner exploded. So we're going to take a deep dive here and see what happened to this one. How does a robot go from fully functional to a pile of smoke? So inside of a shell spinner, you have the underside, which is trying to stay still while it spins up the shell around it. Every action has an equal and opposite reaction. And so as the shell spins up, you can see the inside of the robot is spinning the other way. They're never really able to get control as the whole robot is just kind of spinning around. And then as everything is spinning, they're hit huge upward force onto the outside of the shell. And when the robot is hit, the inside is just bouncing all around. Something pierced a battery. I was looking at these replays trying to figure out if I could see it, and I can't see where the battery is actually pierced, but you can see the inside of the robot is just going all over the place, bouncing off the wall, and smoke is pouring out of it before it's even on the ground and rested. So probably the initial impact caused something inside the robot to pierce it. It could be not enough protection around the battery inside. Sometimes you have something sharp near it. Even a speed controller can pierce a battery if it hits it hard enough. So massive G-forces. You can see inside. Everything looks okay, but we've got a smoldering battery. So my guess is just the insides of the robot moving around during that high impact upward G-force have just caused the interior to destroy itself. You end up with a perfectly fine looking mechanical robot and an inside that's melted into a pile pile of solid lithium. So tough to have happen, but once you get it apart, hopefully they can build a softer inside and take some more G-forces in the next one. But quite the hit delivered by J-Mo there. And, you know, all the expensive parts are still fine. The shell looks good, and that's what you want to see if you're operating a shell spinner. But, yeah, Ricky, Dima, back to you.
Thank you so much, Adam. I love those technical breakdowns. And these students love their teammates. The energy in the house today from Cornell is like nothing else. And I think it's spreading out to the rest of our fans. They are pumped as well. 50. That is 5-0.
That's as many as 5-10s.
That's it's as many as 10-5s, Steve. Now let's take a look. Well, obviously we had a fire. We had a fire extinguisher go into action. That's not quite single use, but they don't last very long. So each time that happens, we reload a fresh fire extinguisher into our house bot, get it ready to go. It's a little bit of a tight fit. In fact, sometimes you can see if a house bot bumps the wall especially hard, it will shoot off the fire extinguisher for a split second.
Yeah, it'll sneeze a little bit.
Exactly. So we're fitting another one just in case in the next fight we have another fire. You know, we can keep our fingers crossed.
Much like other robot fighting competitions of years past, the house bots and the ref bots, they develop their own sort of little fandom and energy and lore that they take on. The NHRL house bots are no exception. They all have names, different names, although sometimes we just call them all Brett.
That's true. I mean, Brett is the shorthand for any house bot. And then underneath of the Brett umbrella, there is the OG Brett, and then there is a cornucopia of other interestingly named house robots who swoop in to attempt unsticks and occasionally to put out fires.
And this one in particular, you can see by the top plate that is currently off. This one is float. Oh, those big honking batteries.
Yep, just, you know, while you're in there, it's a good time for a quick swap. And we'll get it loaded again.
Brooms and batteries, the NHRL story.
I think we're gonna let.
There's so many of you guys.
They're so smiley, dude.
You guys are taking an entire section for most of the day. I love it.
They become disciples for the cause.
Thank you, whoever in the crowd is throwing up the horns. Appreciate that. Yup.
Apparently, it depends on which direction you do it. It's either horns or it's
it's the evil eye. Yeah, I'm not supposed to just give people the evil eye.
No, some people are just a little extra.
Some great fits in the crowd today, honestly. Give me some inspo.
Well, as we get that cage ready to go, I'm interested to see who we have next. I think we're going to go to Sam. Maybe Sam can give us a little information.
Thank you, Ricky. I'm here with the Combat Robotics at Cornell Club, and there's a ton of them, and right next to me is Stella. And Stella, can you tell me, what is it like at your school with this whole big squad of people building fighting robots?
Yeah, it's awesome. They're very supportive. We have 4 different sub-teams. We have marketing, autonomous, kinetic, and sportsman. So we have 3 sub-teams that build a bot. Autonomous does the autonomous one. Oh, and Infinity, yes. Infinity's our newbie program where the new members of the team build the 1-pound bots. We do a ball at Cornell, and then we bring them to NHRL. You guys saw that with 4 horsemen. And yeah, it's a blast. I mean, the team energy is awesome. Everyone's super supportive, and they're all very smart people. And yeah, it's a great time.
The team energy is so good, and you all have come from all over to go to Cornell, is that correct?
Yes, we've got people from many different walks of life, so it's great to have all that knowledge.
Yeah, shout them out. Where's everybody from?
We have people from everywhere in the U.S. We have Indonesia. Yeah, we got everyone from all kind of walks of life here.
Very cool. Such a cool team. You guys bring an amazing energy. Thank you so much. And also, your robots are doing really well today.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, this is the best performance we've had in a while, which is why we've also bbeen super hyped. So we're just really excited to see our robots go far. We've had some times we go to NHRL and we lose and we don't even make it a bracket. And it sucks, but I'm happy we've picked us up picked ourselves back up and we fought it all, and we're actually doing pretty well this time.
Definitely. I'm excited for the future of your club. I'm excited to see the robots the rest of the day. So thank you so much to everybody here.
Thank you guys so much for having us. I know we're a big team, and you guys accommodate us so well, and we're so thankful for that. So thank you, NHRL.
All right. Now, we've got some bots loaded into cage 1, and to call this match, we're going to send it to our play-by-play booth.
Thank you, Sam. Love that energy. And speaking of energy, that I love this robot, Rhinestorm. It has my heart glowing almost as much as the robot's chassis glows. Take a look at that.
I have not gotten an opportunity to see this robot in the cage yet today.
Oh, it's positively radioactive, Deep.
This looks like an original Xbox menu or something like that. I have never seen something glow this bright green in my entire life. Are you sure you can touch that without getting like radiation sickness?
They should be wearing lead aprons, I think, next to the arena right now. They should be wearing lead aprons. Ridiculous. I love the watermelon merch they got going, too. That is a great outfit. Now, we've seen a middling performance so far from Rhinestorm. They've had some success, but not quite as much as I assumed that they were looking for. I really don't know what to expect going into this fight. Now, you said you haven't gotten a chance to see the previous fights from Rhinestorm. Is that right, Dima?
Not yet. I saw, when I was on break between commentating, I looked over in the TV in the break room and I saw it. I did see a massive glowing green backside to it.
2, 1.
Fight, robots, fight.
Wow, a big deflection. Jormungador is now. Oh, Rhinestorm has stuck itself into the arena wall.
And I saw a couple puffs of weapon belt smoke from trying to get itself free.
Oh,
there we
but
go.
it does. It's able to do so before immediately getting hit again by Jormungador.
Ah, we're stuck again. Dude, stay away from that kick plate.
Again and again, look at the shredded TPU armor getting torn up. How many hits can it take, Dima?
Yormi's looking pretty good. Whoa, no more glowing.
No more glow, but the robot is still running. Wheels are spinning, weapons are going. That is a scrappy robot. Oh, and shredded parts have been ingested, and a huge amount of smoke has erupted from Jormungador.
Yormi ate a piece of TPU wheel guard, and I don't know if it's even functional anymore.
No, it smoked that motor hard.
The wheels don't even look like they're spinning.
The match is going to be paused. We're going to try to free these robots from one another. The TPU armor meta has been evolving here at NHRL for a few years now, and we're getting to a point where some of the armor gets ingested more than we kind of hoped for. It doesn't look like there's anything wacky going on with its design. You know, this is still in the realm of bad luck.
Yeah,
but
maybe a little bit low infill if we have to pick something, but I don't think that's it. I think it's just you ripped half of the wheel guard off and you sucked it up from the underside too. It's
pulled all the way through. So what we're going to do is we're going to take these robots, we're going to stick some weapon locks in there, and we're going to try and rip them apart with our, carefully calibrated crowbars, the old CCCs. But I got to say, that much smoke pouring out of the base of Yormi is
it doesn't look good.
It's not a good omen.
So I'm a little curious. How is that going to feel if it's not functional after stuck in the wall twice and an entanglement?
It's a good question.
It's gotta hurt.
Yeah, the entanglement damage for something like this, I mean, that's a luck of the draw thing. So on the one hand, it is going to count for condition, but you don't get the attack points on it. You know, this isn't something where Rhinestorm said, "Yeah, I'm gonna break their weapon using my chassis." And in fact, if they had, it would be a problem, right? You're not allowed to purposefully damage your opponents in this way. So, yeah, you're right. They may come out of this lacking the intentional damage proof, the proof of intentional damage the judges are going to be looking for.
Although
that is good and proper stuck, though. I'm not even sure we're going to be able to pry these apart. They're just cutting it apart. That's one way to do it.
What other choice do you have? You'd have to pull it all the way through the entire assembly.
Yeah, I'm feeling like 90s Nickelodeon here.
I am happy that we got to see so many close-up shots of Rhinestorm's amazing design flourishes. The top plate, the weapon assembly. I love Melon. Yo, and the tie-dye shirt.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, we all love Melon's Demon.
Dude, I'm too hungry.
Yeah, you truly are. I don't know how this is going to go. The robots are played as they lay. They're not, like, reset.
Yeah.
I don't know whether both robots are going to be able to move. They were both damaged before this encounter. They clearly took more damage by being stuck together. We're resuming the match now. Both robots able to move. Oh, but that is a bad position for Jormy. They're calling for an unstick. I think they're going to be able to get themselves free.
As long as they can get on the ground, it will be a significantly more even fight.
Yeah, that weapon isn't spinning, and it only takes one unlucky hit to have that kind of tripoded effect that we saw a minute ago.
If I was driving, I would probably try to run the wedge into Rhinestorm's.
Oh, and there it is again. They do not have a second unstick. They are stuck. They are going to be counted out unless Rhinestorm decides to deploy some mercy on their opponent. Rhinestorm is going to be walking away with a win by KO. Albeit a controversial one.
Congratulations to Bobby, driver of Rhinestorm. No team to speak of, but he's fighting out of Woodhaven, New York, and he has Matt on his side from Team Pandemonium. You always want that guy in your corner.
It's true, you do. Now, I want to take a moment to say here, you've got Glenn Boxell. You can see him standing cage side as our pit steward. He is going to be analyzing this situation, noting it for future use. We want to make sure Rhinestorm isn't doing this on a regular basis.
Yeah.
Bad luck can happen to anyone. It didn't appear to me as a spectator that this was an intentional thing. But we got to make sure just for future fights. We're going to go into the replay and maybe we can get a better idea of exactly how this happened.
Yeah. So that first engage sort of went off of the wedge and skirted off of the top, and then instantly, into the wall. And sort of wiggles its butt to try to get itself free, and it did get itself free, but it got stuck again. But here's the crucial incoming moment that is going to be the controversial part.
Yeah, here it comes. Whoop.
Yep.
Now you notice that armor was already very shredded. Oh, look at that. You can see the flames coming out of the motor. That motor had no current limiting on it whatsoever.
Thank goodness for the replay. I didn't see it the first time.
No, I didn't either. What that means for folks at home, when a motor has no current limiting, usually it uses the fact that it spins up, pulls a lot of power in that first instant when it's spinning. If it gets stalled, if it gets stuck, it just keeps dumping that full amount of power, dumping and dumping and dumping, and it will continue to do that until it catches fire, or the motor controller catches fire, the battery catches fire. Most robots these days have safety measures so that if it sees that sort of, hey, I'm not spinning up, it will stop it from dumping so much power that it ignites and catches fire. So perhaps that's something they can upgrade in the future. We're going to find out. But in the short term, we're going to go to Carly and get an interview with Rhinestorm.
Yes, I am here with Bobby and Rhinestorm. And we're curious, Bobby, how do you feel about this fight, since it seemed like you weren't doing so great, you got in the entanglement, and then you came at it in the end?
Honestly, I'm not that very happy with the result. I think they did better than I did. Honestly, I wish they won instead of me. I should have honestly topped out. But
can you describe the damage for us? What are you working with?
They hit me right in the back in the frame where they tore a hole right where my battery is. They almost got it, and they tore off the side of my wheel guard and tore down one side of drive. So they did a lot of damage. It's not insignificant.
Oh boy, well that's tough. But thank you so much, Bobby. And we're going to go back to the booth.
Thank you. Yeah, sometimes the, I don't know, competitive spirit speaks to just wanting the robot that came in and put on the best fight to win, but sometimes luck is what makes or breaks a fight.
Yeah, that's one of the most difficult things about the sport as a competitor is that there's a lot of chaos involved, a lot of luck involved, which even more kudos to the builders and engineers that are able to keep things consistent in the face of all that luck and randomness.
Take a look at these excited spectators. They are happy any which way. Let's go to Adam and Sam. They're going to tell us a little more about an upcoming event we have here at NHRL. Guys?
We sure are. The upcoming event is NHRL's first Pro Tour of the year. This is coming up on May 16th, and we are looking at some of the World Cup style groups that we have, in particular the 12-pound class.
Yeah, so in these groups, we're going to be doing a round-robin tournament of everyone in them. So Xenomorph, Void, Carolina Reaper, and Minen and Plusle are all going to be going at it within this group on May 16th here in 2 weeks. This should be quite exciting. I love Carolina Reaper, hot robot, going up against Minen and Plusle. Little multi-bot action should be a lot of fun.
Looking at Group I right now, we've got Maximizer, Caldera 12, Infrared, and Bagheera. Woo, woo. Some gnarly horizontals in this one, a big old vert as well. This is a tough group.
Maximizer is my robot to watch in the 12-pound Pro Tour bracket. No matter what happens, I feel like Maximizer puts on a good fight and an amazing, unique weapon type that we pretty much only see here at NHRL with the Thagamizer.
Yeah, so looking at some of the matchups we have to look forward to on May 16th. Let's see, Maximizer versus Infrared is interesting to me, considering Infrared's pretty similar to Xenomorph, and Xenomorph took out Maximizer in the final of our last tournament.
Yeah, this is exciting, but in the meantime, let's go back to today's NHRL Open event to see who's going to be able to qualify for the Summer Pro Tour event later on. And we're going to be calling this fight here in Cage 1 right in front of us. And we've got Apollo going up against Roar E.
I watched Apollo do a roof shot earlier today, and you know, I'm kind of hungry for another.
Fight, robots, fight.
Both robots a little hesitant out of the gate here, trying to line up the perfect shot. Apollo is content to sit and spin here. Rory trying to find the perfect shot, trying to line it up. Little afraid to go weapon to weapon here. And sometimes that can hurt you. You can expose the side. Oh, but they get a great shot on the base plate of Apollo. Wow!
Woo! We lost the belt on Apollo.
Is torn
Both belts
off
are
Apollo.
gone.
This is Rory's fight at this point. Apollo is a sitting duck.
Apollo is split.
They are broken in half, and they tap out. No weapon. Drive didn't seem to be working either.
Wow, Apollo seemed content this tournament to just sit and pivot facing their opponents. Whew, but Roar E seemed to find that one little opening.
Yeah, there was a moment where Rory exposed the side and Apollo just missed. Rory able to come up underneath, hit the base plate of Apollo, withstood a really big impact, and then the Apollo just chewed its belts.
Yeah. We saw them get loose and then fly off, and it makes sense. It's kind of hard to see, but the top plate is split on Apollo, and that holds two halves together, and those halves are not together any longer.
No, I don't think that fight went how Apollo wanted it to. They were trying to play it a little bit conservative, sit, not doing too much attacking. Rory also playing it conservative, but at the same time being the aggressor in the fight, trying to find the opening. And then they did and made it count. With the impacts, they could withstand the impact from Apollo. Apollo couldn't say the same for themselves.
How important is the first exchange, Adam?
I think it sets the tone for the whole fight because you could see Apollo bending in half as they picked it up. Let's take a look at the replays here. You can see the pirouetting, the big impact that sent Rory flying and seemingly broke Apollo in half at the same time. There was that base plate hit early on, but Apollo just did not work right after sending Rory across the arena.
Yeah, that weapon-on-weapon
here's the
impact.
belt ingestion. Are we going to get to see it? Yeah, chews up the belt, and the whole frame is just broken in half at the same time.
Wow. Still a lot of power in Apollo. I'm looking forward to them in the future. Good run today.
But yeah, that initial hit is going to set the stage for the whole match, because you kind of get a feel for, can I go head-to-head or do I need to get around the side? What was interesting to me is that Apollo won that engagement, broke themselves in the meantime. But we're going to go to cage 2.
I am excited for this one, Adam. We have the gnarly flamethrower of Clyde going up against the beautiful Berserker. And yesterday I was able to sneak over to the Berserker table and check out some of his configurations, and we're seeing one of those configurations in action right now. This is a resin print on this robot. This is a high temperature resin for the horns, the clear translucent horns on Berserker, and they are going to be put to the test, going up against Clyde from the Too Hot to Handle brothers, Gabe and Alex.
Yeah, we've seen 2 different Clydes today. The first Clyde I saw had a little bit of trouble. It got a direct hit to the fan, couldn't get that combustion it usually has, almost melted itself, still took home the victory. But then the second fight, Clyde came out, all guns blazing, all the fire, all the heat that we like to see. This is going to be a tough test here. But which Clyde are we going to get? The durable, reliable, super flame-throwing heat? Or the lesser reliable one. But this is the oldest and first flamethrower that we've ever had, the first one to win a dumpster. And if anyone can come back and win another one, it's going to be Clyde.
Is it going to be today, though, Adam?
I don't know. I'm kind of feeling it.
Well, we will see what Berserker's feeling and what they bring to this match. I bet they bring their own form of heat.
Yeah, I mean, the horns on Berserker are one of the greatest, self-righting sort of inverted systems at NHRL. They are not just style, they are also function, and they work really, really well. You see that whole system actually looks like it might be either cast or printed on resin.
It's resin printed.
Yeah.
He said he used high temp resin for this one.
That is cool.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Fight, robots, fight.
I bet it melts.
Look at the blue hot flame coming out of Clyde, just barbecuing Berserker against the wall. How high temperature is that resin?
We're gonna find out.
You can hear the ref counting down the pins in the background. Can only hold these for 10 seconds. Wow! All those prints are turning a nice charred brown. If this was a turkey,
One
I'd
is
say
off
it's about
now,
done.
Adam. Lingering flames now on Berserker.
Oh! Berserker able to land a hit, but it just sends themselves flying. There's the tap out. They are
tap out. Man, that forced air flamethrower is so cool. You can see it suck up sawdust from the arena and send it out as hot sparks. Clyde is cool.
They're going to need to use the flamethrower here as Berserker is still on fire.
The reverse flamethrower, here we go.
Trying to prevent the lipos from going up. That was a nice red smoke. some sort of paint or sticker or just the chassis perhaps. But Clyde has so much power in that flame. We were talking earlier, can Clyde take home another dumpster? I really think they might. Look at that damage on Berserker. It's almost unrecognizably melted. The horn is gone on the left side, and I think it's just dripped down the back of the robot. So you can see them take it out. It's a lot softer than it was when it started.
But to Berserker's credit, they are not a puddle.
No, they're not a puddle. It still mostly looked like the right shape.
Oh, we've got some lingering flames in the pink corner as well. I see by our cage camera.
Oh, yeah. The wooden
Might need
side
to
of the arena
hit
is still
that
on
with
fire.
some fire extinguisher.
Let's take a look at these
real
replays
quick
and see how that happened. Is Clyde able to get a pin on Berserker right out of the gate and never stopped letting them have it with the flames the entire duration of the fight, releasing and re-engaging, releasing and re-engaging. Look at the flames wrapping around the horns of Berserker. As they finally tap out, the flames lingering. They're trying to spin and put them away.
All right, the camera mount was on fire, but we just hit it with our CO2 fire extinguisher, and now it's just smoldering.
Yeah, it's been made safe.
We run UHMW corners and camera mounts there, which has a higher melting temp than 3D prints, but it could still melt. We've certainly had fights in this cage where all the lights drip down from the ceiling. Everything that was not made of metal in the cage ended up way too soft.
Plastics being made mostly of oil are flammable, it turns out. But we're going to go to Carly, who I think's got an interview cage side here.
Awesome. Yeah, I'm here with Gabe and Alex, with Clyde, and they just told me they're having a lot of fun, and I think we're all having a lot of fun too watching you guys. I want to know, how do you feel going forward? Like, do you have a lot of confidence? I think you should.
I think we do. We know that we can take out pretty much anyone in just a pin or two, but we're also kind of a glass cannon. If we get hit in the wrong spot, we will explode. So I'd give it, most fights, I think, aren't going to be more than 30 seconds to a minute for us.
Cool, that's awesome. Well, you guys have been great to watch. We're having so much fun. Can't wait to see more, but we're going to send it back to the booth now.
Thanks so much, Carly. I love a good firefight, and boy, has Clyde been delivering them consistently for this entire event.
Clyde has sort of become, in my opinion, the most iconic, certainly the most iconic 3-pound robot, but now we have Kazaa Light as the iconic 12 flamethrower. We have Clyde as the iconic 3 flamethrower. I'm waiting for the 30-pound flamethrower to sort of take the mantle.
No, we mixed that up. It's
sorry. Excuse me.
Kazaa being the 30-pound. We're waiting for that 12. And
It might just be Kazaa Ines.
Well, we're going to find out. Kazaa Ines and Kazaa Light both compete in the 30-pound category. They're just, one is a multi-bot and one is a solo. We've got Limewire, an up-and-comer in the 12-pound class. We also, of course, have the Power of Hatred trying their absolute best.
Judging by Julian's post-fight interview, I do not think he will be trying too hard.
I hear we have some exciting news, though, coming in. Not to interrupt you. Sorry.
No, please do.
Oh, my goodness. The 30-pound bracket for the primetime show had... Hold on. I'm sorry to interrupt my interruption with, look at the damage to that iPhone. I need a second. Take a look at that. That is incredible. Okay, back to the news. The 30-pound bracket ready to go. Let's take a look at it. Kazaa Ines is going to be facing Makabot. Kratos is going to be facing Tomahawk. Wow, Tomahawk making all the way to the quarterfinals. Fantastic for them. Parallax versus the borderline indomitable Catharsis, and Emulsifier versus Sunray. This is going to put some potentially incredible fights on the board. Can you imagine a Catharsis and Emulsifier fight, Dima?
I can, and it looks like it might not be that many fights until we get to see one. I'm really excited for Kazaa versus Makabot. I think Makabot has one of those really, really big beaters that can throw around the low-profile shape of Kazaa, which is usually, that never happens. It just gets like tossed a little bit by its forks against the other 30-pound birds. I'm hoping that Makabot can give Kazaa Eins a run for its money.
And let me put this in your head for you. Kazaa Eins, one of the most powerful flamethrowers, going up against Kratos. Can you imagine the fire tornado that we would have in the cage in the semifinals?
I'm imagining it. I don't even think my imagination is as pretty as what we're going to see.
So we're going to find out that and a lot more over the next, I don't know, what is this? 7 fights here that will take us through the primetime bracket during the primetime NHRL May event, which starts at 7 p.m. Eastern Time. Oh, I see a very intelligent, very smart, of course, artificially intelligent and smart-looking device sitting cage side at cage 2.
Not to like, what are those, but like, what is that?
So you can take a look. That black object on the top of that tablet, that is a binocular vision camera system. So it's 2 cameras mounted several inches apart. And this gives the AI controller for the robot, Mrs. Buff, a depth perception in its view of the arena. It lets the camera understand whether something is close or far by comparing the images captured by those 2 cameras.
Yeah, because they're not able to have like an overhead view like the overhead camera. They're not able to see like a shot of like where each robot is on the map, so to speak. They have to use the depth perception. That's really interesting.
Exactly. So that all feeds into a custom programmed artificial intelligence driving aid. It does quite a bit of the driving depending on the circumstance. You get an even closer look there. You can see its overview of the arena. Take a look. You might be able to notice, if you look very closely, some green outlines on the arena picture that's on that screen.
Yeah.
That's being modeled in real time by the computer to say, what are the boundaries of the arena? Where can my robot go within this space? And then once the robot is added to the arena after it's finished being repaired, you'll see another green box. I assume green, might be another color, but you'll see another wireframe box around both of the competitors. And the system is going to use that mapping to figure out and estimate where the competitors are within the arena, how fast they're moving, all that sort of good stuff, and use that to compute the signals that need to go to the robot to drive it around the arena.
That's so cool, but I have... Okay, but
looks like that camera is working. You get a great... what sign of... yeah, Nick doing a great swap there. I was trying to turn that into a shoe commercial, but, of course... blacked out brands. I couldn't tell.
It's really cool that on our side we get to see if the camera's working or not, because they just cut to the new view.
Yeah, they are. Wow, look, that is a barbecued cable. I think after this event, that's going to need to get replaced.
Probably. One more question about the 3D sort of transmitter that he had, the AI camera that he was holding.
Yeah, absolutely.
Was he the case for it? Was that 3D printed himself? That's not something you can just buy, right?
I think it was an adapter case. Yes. So take a look at that.
It's so cool, man.
So the camera itself is a purchased module, a 3D printed handle assembly, so that he can gimbal it around. There you go. Oh, he's added googly
Thank you. We didn't know about the googly eyes until you showed it to us. Thank you.
And see that cable coming off the right-hand side? That's what plugs into the traditional controller. So you can see the traditional controller just crossed in front. That's what's sending the signals, that wire between them, the ties that bind them. That's what's sending the actual signals to the robot. So you've got a separate processing unit that monitors the fight, does all sorts of fancy calculations, and then sends out a comparatively basic signal to the controller that then transmits to the robot. And of course can be overridden by the human driver in case of emergency or whatever else.
It's just the case itself that he built is so cool.
4, 3, 2, 1.
Fight, robots.
Away they go, a quick spin up.
Whoa.
John Undercutter and both robots go flying across the arena. Mrs. Buff trying to get right-sided.
Both robots
Ooh,
inverted.
end over end, and it's able to right itself and put some good dents in the top of John Undercutter, who's upside down themselves.
This is Mrs. Buff's turn, so to speak, to do the damage that it can do while John Undercutter is not as mobile as it would like to be.
Now, John Undercutter is a shuffler robot that's got a 50% weight bonus, so kicking it around with your weapon is not without its own set of risks.
Mrs. Buff doing a great job of avoiding this whole body spinning attack, this fake melty.
Yeah, I think one of the drive sides on John Undercutter is damaged, and that's why you're seeing this spinning approach. That might be all the movement they can manage right now.
But they're staying on the attack.
They are, but right now Mrs. Buff is inverted, and they don't seem to be able to self-right.
And spinning with the full body isn't as effective for Mrs. Buff as it is for John over here.
No, with the weapon still running on John Undercutter, they're just hoping they... Oh, John Undercutter's able to drive straight again. Both sides are working. And they've righted Mrs. Buff, but Mrs. Buff now is sitting dead in the water. The wheel's just barely spinning, just kind of twitching.
One wheel's
and the
gone.
weapon down. This is going to be a cutoff for count out rather for Mrs. Buff if the housebot is unable to free the robot. It is. It's able to free Mrs. Buff enough to move around a little bit. They're still suffering left-hand drive issues. That was interesting. They took a hit and they drove straight for a moment.
So 1 minute and 10 seconds left in this fight. It's still anybody's game, but I think John Undercutter is just in a position where they're poised to be able to do the damage they want to do. Mrs. Buff's going to have a harder time doing the damage it wants to do.
It does seem that Mrs. Buff has maybe given up on computer control, or at least has downplayed how much they're using it.
Yeah, we don't fully know how much it affects things like steering and autonomy, but it looks like right now at the moment they're fully manual.
With John Undercutter right side up and still spinning, this is absolutely their opportunity to shine. Look at the belt, the weapon belt on Mrs. Buff laying, just jiggling in the wind.
Oh, this
and
is
the
bad.
wheels high-centered, unable to spin.
no
They're
one
going to be
stick.
counted out just before the end of the match.
Knockout.
That is a knockout. Mrs. Buff headed home. John Undercutter taking home a win in the last moments of the fight. This is a great example of never give up, never surrender in the match. John Undercutter was absolutely on the ropes for the vast majority of that fight, and a lucky break got them righted and able to deliver additional hits that gained them the win.
That was an amazing driving, sort of thinking on your feet sort of match by Aaron Fan, the driver of John Undercutter, and he was coached that fight by Jamison Go.
Let's head right into the replays. We can see some of this action. John Undercutter here still upside down, sending Mrs. Buff into the corner. For a shuffler robot that really struggles to drive well when upside down, John Undercutter really took every opportunity they were given. And then when they were finally righted, they got a lucky break, got right side up. They were able to deliver just a few kill shots, made all the difference in the world, delivered that knockout in the last few seconds of the fight.
This is a masterclass in what I consider the sort of detail-oriented things that are not optimal right now. I'm upside down. One of my drives is locked up, but I need to figure out the most optimal thing to do. So my robot's not optimal, but I have to be optimal. I think Carly is cage side with Aaron.
Hey guys, I'm here with Aaron and John Undercutter, and I just want to know, was there a turning point for you in this match where you thought it was going to go one way or the other? What were you doing in that moment?
Oh, my typical strategy is to kind of get beat up on for the first half and then wear out the opponent through just hitting me too hard. So I wasn't too worried. A robot's very defensive, so it's kind of like, see how it goes.
Cool, and what's your strategy for the rest of the night?
Survive, really. Yeah, there's some very hard hitters, and really, as long as I can keep running, I think that's good enough for me.
Cool. Well, congratulations, and we'll see you tonight in prime time.
Thank you.
Cool. And we're going to go back to the booth.
Thank you so much, Carly. Love to see that cage side. Also love to see all the wonderful fans. Someone got a sea turtle at the Norwalk Aquarium. That's exciting.
That is exciting. For science lovers, if you want to come down to one science venue, you might want to go to the other. I'm a big fan of the Norwalk Aquarium, though. I've only been once.
News is coming in. The 12-pound bracket is ready to go. We know who's going to be competing in prime time. Let's take a look. Torrent and Nightcrawler. This should be interesting. Both of those able to deliver some big punishing hits. Blue, Marlin, and Michael. Also going to be really interested to see what comes out of this. Blue Marlin has been looking hot today.
But then right after, we have Psycho from Jameson Go versus Rhinestorm, who we've seen recently, and Roar-E versus Pyre, Lars's foray into 12. I'm really excited to see Pyre make it into top 8. I want to see that dual action lifter. I want to see the piloting that Lars has sort of grown into. He's grown into one of the strongest pilots in NHRL. Now he has a robot that can really show off his skill. I want to see what he can show off. And of course Psycho is just an all-star vert.
Absolutely is. We're going to find out all of those matches, or get to watch all those matches a little later tonight. But right now, we have the last fight of the KO show.
5,
loaded up
4,
in cage 2.
3, 2, 1.
Fight, robots.
Stardust coming out of the pink corner, trying to take on Power On in the blue. Whoa! Power On delivering a punishing blow, sending Stardust into the arena wall in a just plume of smoke that melted through the weapon belt. You can see that orange belt laying on the ground. That is toast.
For a moment, we see some literal Stardust, but now Power On is just looking to finish the fight. Halo 3 style.
Yeah, without that weapon going, this is Power On's plaything. Oh, and now Power On doesn't even seem to be moving at all. They have tapped out. Power On moving. Power On takes an easy win. Stardust taps out.
So now you're going in a bracket with a 30 and a 3.
That is going to be interesting. I cannot tell you how stressful it can become to have robots in multiple weight classes competing at the same time. Even if you've got a good team, just knowing that you've got twice as many robots to worry about in prime time, in the limelight, can be a daunting thing to face down.
There's been some tournaments where me and Julian were pitting with each other in top 8, but it was both 3s. It wasn't like we're doing 3s and 30s. Got to put on 2 different caps.
Exactly. 2 vastly different worlds to keep track of.
Power On, if for those watching later, you'll see that Macabot is pretty much just a really big Power On. 10 times the size of Power On. Same weapon, same drive, obviously not exactly the same, but same stylistically, and it works amazingly.
Man, that is a great performance. Very, very cool. Very well done. And with that, we've come to the end of our KO show. Please remember, it's just a quick hop into our 7 p.m. primetime show. Please tune in. Thank you so much for joining us here for the KO show. We've got a lot more robot fighting coming to you real soon. We'll see you there.
I'm Dima Papazian, and I'm signing off. I'll see you guys at 7.
Thanks very much from Ricky Willems and the rest of the gang here at NHRL.